Red hot comic book movie news, shooting up your butthole. The Weekly Planet, the Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday, and with me, as always, it's my co-host. There he is, Nick Mason.
Hey!
Wow, you're coming in red hot. You didn't say a single word. We've been here for an hour. I couldn't get a peep out of you, Mason. What was the deal with that?
Just saving up all my energy, you know. Okay. I've lost it. It's all gone. I've never done a big hey. Oh, now I'm double exhausted. Oh, why did I do this?
Do you want to do this tomorrow or not?
Yeah, I'm not ever. Let's
just not ever?
Yeah, not ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to press on. You're allowed to leave.
Okay, great.
So we're going to start with...
I'm getting my second win.
Okay, great.
As long as I don't say the thing I said before, I think I should be okay.
Gotcha. So this week, just to give everybody a rundown of what we're going to do on the show where we do these things, similar things. I'm going to say the news things that we're going to talk about and people can skip to them. And then the topics. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to talk about...
Do you think anybody ever just skips to one particular news thing?
Absolutely.
Do you think they scan the list of news things and like, nope. Maybe.
I do that.
No.
Of people that I follow and I'm like, I don't want to hear anything else. I just want to hear this particular bit. Maybe it's also for this show because I'm like, I need this bit of information. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe I'm just cool like that. So we're going to talk about returning Netflix Marvel characters, Mason, as a follow-up from last week.
And some betrayals.
That's right. We're going to be talking about what the Duffer brothers are up to next.
Absolute couple of duffers.
I agree.
Do people in America know the context of the term duffer?
Do you want to explain it now, or do you want to explain it?
Just somebody being a real duffer.
Do you want to save this for
No,
the
I'm done.
Duffer
I've already
brothers
done. I've already done.
segment?
That's what
Okay,
it's.
cool.
Just imagine somebody being a real duffer.
Yeah.
You get
it's
it.
that.
You
Exactly.
get it.
You do.
It's funny.
It is funny. James Cameron has some thoughts on Avatar and how long movies are, Mason.
Oh, James Cameron has some thoughts.
That's right. Superman cameoing in Black Adam.
Oh, question mark.
Captain America 4
Hierarchy
news.
of the DC universe
It's
about to change,
finally,
question
finally.
mark.
Who's going to do the biggest punch, etc. What was the next thing I said? Captain America 4 finds a director.
Oh, and it's not someone you think would be good.
That's right. A bit of fun.
Maybe they will be good.
I think so.
Okay.
I will talk about it.
All right.
And then, of course, we're going to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder with a little bit of Star Wars news just before that. And then The Boys. We're not doing a Boys wrap-up video. We did like the first 3 episodes. So this will be that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're trying to organize our time, Mason.
There's so many things out. There's a lot of TV happening.
That's right.
There was a real saturation of TV over the span of like a few weeks. It was Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ms. Marvel.
Yep,
was
recap.
at
That's come up this week on Wednesday.
The Boys.
Yep.
It was a real concentration of good content, I thought.
Exactly. And speaking of, Mason, good content, just in case people missed it last week, we are taking all of August off.
That is correct.
I mean, not a hilarious joke. Wouldn't this be a great joke if we didn't
Maybe it is, though. Keep listening. Maybe August 1st will tick over and maybe there'll be even more content than you were expecting.
That's right. That includes all the social medias, all the YouTube, everything. BigSandwich.co is still going to run. That's our bonus podcast thing if people are interested. But just thought I might mention that up top every week because we will still get questions. So, you know.
But think about it. We'll still get questions even if you do this.
Oh, yeah. Less questions?
Nope, same amount. Probably more, actually.
Was it a joke? You said it was a joke.
Yes, it's a joke. Yeah. There'll be more content in August. There'll be a ton of content.
Here's something that's not a joke, Mason. 2 legends passed away this week.
Oh, that is very sad.
Tony Sirico, age 79. People might know him as Paulie from The Sopranos.
Paulie Walnuts, that's right.
What an incredible performance.
Right, real mob guy.
A real mob guy. Just the comedic timing of it all. Apparently, he originally auditioned for Junior.
Right, okay.
And I don't know, I can't remember whether he lost the role or they found this better role for him. And also, he had the request that his character isn't a rat. So that was the thing that he went.
Interesting. Because you've only recently seen.
I recently watched the entire
Sopranos
thing.
in its entirety. He has a great hurt face. Because he's like he's always on, and then occasionally like Tony would be like, "Paulie, shut up," and he's like, "Oh,
yeah." And it's funny because he's got that kind of character where he's got ambitions, but not, you know what I mean? He doesn't want to be in charge of anything. It's it's great. I mean, if you haven't watched The Sopranos, a show that's 20 plus years old at this point since it started, you should. So age 79, death of a legend.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, I think, all-time we're in this era of premium television. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
But I think one of the great all-time episodes from this era is the episode where Paulie and Chris have to dump the body of the guy like out in the New Jersey wilderness, but then it turns out he's a Russian special forces guy. And they just
chasing him around the forest.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Incredible.
A great team up. They're like just completely different acting styles and completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Just two great characters having great character moments together and shivering together out in the snow.
Completely agree.
And speaking of made guys passing away.
James Caan, aged 82. I mean, huge catalogue of work. To name a few, The Godfather, Misery, Elf.
Yes.
That one, I didn't put that in as a joke. He's great in that movie. He's really good as Will Ferrell's dad in that. Yeah, I mean, what she's just been in so many good things. It feels like he's been around forever.
Agreed.
And he was working up until recently when Ray Liotta passed away.
Oh, another made guy.
That's right. James Caan said something like, not Ray, and then someone wrote underneath end of tweet, which is what he normally does at the end of his tweets, and then underneath that guy he wrote, "Do better, you rat." Look, pretty good innings from both of them, but incredible work. All right, Mason, we got to move it along because we have to talk about The Hollywood Reporter. You're not going to believe that they're reporting, Mason. They're reporting that both Charlie Cox, and Vinny D'Onofrio are returning for the Echo series.
It's incredible news.
In their roles.
And yet I'm feeling a real echo, if you will, James, as if I've heard that before.
That's right. It wasn't exclusive we got here last week, which a lot of sites did report on. To be fair, they also mentioned that we were sourced in addition to what they heard, the bit about Jessica Jones being a key story component, who Daredevil is looking for her throughout the series. We don't know whether she's in it, but probably if that's true, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, sadly, a lot of people didn't mention, the most key component of our exclusives, Mason.
Bunch of rats out there.
Bunch of rats is that they didn't say whether it was a hot scoop or shot of food.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the people out there, though, who made that right in so many cases.
We certainly didn't ask you to. We appreciate that you did.
That's right.
Wink.
So, it's coming from THR as well. They're a more reliable source than us. So
True.
that's confirmed.
But maybe that's because... so the Hollywood Reporter isn't just reporting from us.
No, they had their own independent info. I mean, because that makes me...
Might be the same guy, though.
Could be. It makes me also think that, good, we're probably right.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if we're wrong, we're taking the Hollywood Reporter down with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Good.
Just in addition to that, Diz Insider's Derek Connell on Twitter, Cornell says, I'm hearing they're not bringing back Finn Jones for Iron Fist. Not surprising. I also think, not my favorite MCU
See, but that also
performance.
sounds like a rumor that's also a punchline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe. But, it got reported on a few places.
Okay.
But I think, though, let's presume this is true, right? Let's say. Look how skeptical you are now that you're a big Scoops man, Mason.
That's right.
That I think he could do well.
That's what I'm saying
I think he could. Not my favorite series, not my favorite character.
Here's the thing. I think I mentioned this before, I think the character did improve when he made an appearance in... I liked him in Defenders, but he was also in the second season of Luke Cage.
Okay,
and I think he and Luke Cage made a great combination. So
okay, there you go. All right.
The actor who plays Luke Cage, though, is in another series.
Yeah.
Which is on Amazon. It's been going quite a while. It's called Evil.
Okay.
And it's like the X-Files, but religion.
Oh, so some of the episodes of X-Files.
Yeah. The religious episodes. It's been going for 3 seasons.
Wasn't he in a Halo thing at one point?
Oh, he might have been.
No, I might be wrong. Is it good?
Don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been recommended to me, though. So
he was James Locke in the Halo franchise, apparently. So there you go. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
He started in
we should have a segment called There You Go.
There you go. He started in the series also Halo Nightfall. And also
not Halo Nights in the style of Baywatch Nights.
On a beach?
Yeah, well, the Spartans, they run a beachside detective agency at night.
Wow.
When they're not being Spartans.
Are they like, I hope it wasn't the flood or whatever?
It's always the flood.
I haven't ever played any of it, so. But that was right, I said.
Yeah.
People hate that series. I know that, though, the new series.
Yeah.
People are not a fan. I wonder, though, somebody who doesn't really know anything about Halo, whether I would enjoy it.
That's exactly. Is it a case of it's a bad show full stop, or is it a bad show if you know all the law and they're ruining the law? Or whatever it is?
And speaking of, this next bit of news is about the Duffer brothers, couple of Duffers. Their production company recently formed Upside Down Pictures. They're developing a live-action Death Note series for Netflix.
Ah, like that live action from that live action Death Note movie?
From Netflix.
Yes. Was it a movie or was it a series? I can't remember.
A movie. Now, when I watched that, because I've never seen or read, no, I have actually.
Go on.
Let's pretend I haven't read it.
Okay,
and I'm not a massive fan of all things anime and know everything.
Mm-hmm, sure.
When I saw that.
That simplifies things.
I think so. I was like.
As opposed to the reality where you know everything about anime. Right?
Correct.
That would be too complicated, if anything. This simplifies it.
It does.
Because you're a guy who knows everything about
I know
anime.
everything.
But we're adding a layer of persona.
And I'm being
don't know everything.
I'm being relatable also.
Relatable and
to a normal person.
Sure.
I'm watching that movie. I was like, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hate it because I'm like, interesting concept. But obviously people who know anything about that are like, this is a bad adaptation of a thing that I love.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what this could look like again. I guess.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, but that's interesting that we've reached the era of Netflix where they are going to remake
They're remaking things, apparently?
They're remaking things that didn't work the first time. I guess if they've still got the license.
Yeah, why not?
But it hasn't, that came out we've in the last...
2017.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. Again, as somebody who is a huge fan, but if I hadn't seen all of it, I thought it was interesting as a concept because obviously the core concept works.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That I know.
Was Willem Dafoe? He was the guy? Was he the devil? He was the demon guy?
Oh, he was the voice of, yeah. That's right. Did you watch that?
I think I did, but also, as mentioned, couldn't remember if it was a movie or a series.
I remember it being well cast and what was it? Who was it? There's a bloody... Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield was in it. Nat Wolff was the lead in it. Yeah. Good names. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. I mean, it wasn't, but good stuff.
Yeah.
Mason, do you like the magazine or now presumably website Empire? I mean, it is a website, and
I reckon it probably still is a magazine. Right?
It is. It's both. Yeah,
I love it.
It's always like, check out our new Star Wars cover, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy that, but I'll look at this picture.
I'll rip the cover off in the newsagents. If anyone tries to stop me, I'll be like, it was like this when I got here, but can I keep the cover?
Don't they, when they send them back, they have to do that? They have to tear the cover off or something?
Clip a bit out of it or something.
Yeah, cool. Anyways, James Cameron was speaking to them.
Okay.
He said, hello, I'm famous director James Cameron. And they said, hello, James Cameron, have a seat.
We're Empire Magazine.
Yes, that's
He's
right.
like, yeah, I know. I got my start ripping off the covers and selling them at a profit. So I got the money for Terminator 2. Didn't you know that?
He said, I've got some...
Just selling Star Wars covers. That's what the kids at school wanted.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and I sold tons of them. I made Terminator 2.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's really good that he did that. He said, I've got some other things I'm developing as well, in addition to the Avatar movies that are really exciting. He said, I think eventually over time, I don't know, it's after 3 or after 4, I want to pass the baton to a director that I trust to take over so I can do some other stuff that I'm also interested in, or maybe not. I don't know. Movie 4 is a corker, he says, Mason. It's a motherfucker, he says.
Whoa, it's a quarker.
That's right. I actually hope I get to make it, but it depends on market forces. 3's in the can, so it's coming out regardless. Imagine having that power to be like, these are terrible. These are terrible. 2 was terrible and 3's terrible. Well, we haven't seen them yet,
coming out
obviously.
regardless. I'm going to look up where James Cameron is from because I want to know how he would say it's a corker.
He's from New Hampshire.
Oh.
I don't know. I made that up.
Canadian. He's from Canada.
In New Hampshire, yeah.
No, that's not none of those things.
There's a New Hampshire in Canada. Probably. Somebody email in. Tell me. He said...
He's from Kapuskasing, Canada.
Okay. New Hampshire.
And if you go to spouse, it says Susie Cameron, Linda Hamilton, Catherine Bigelow, more. There's a more tab. You can click more.
Wow. Is there a New Hampshire in Canada? Doesn't seem to be. God damn it. God, I hate being wrong this one time. More news, though, also via Empire. As he went to leave, they sat him back down. They said, sit your ass down. We got more questions.
We're Empire Magazine. We built you, James Cameron.
The magazine covers, etc.
Yeah.
It was asked about the length of
Excuse
movies.
me? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said, I don't...
You got to tell us about the length, James Cameron, of my movies. Yeah. Because we're from Empire.
We're from Empire.
Yeah, that's it. Just the normal stuff. That's all we do here, just the normal stuff.
Yes. You haven't actually accidentally walked into Hustler magazine.
That's right.
James
That's
Cameron.
next door.
So, yeah. I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge watch for 8 hours.
It's about the girth of my movies.
I can almost write this part of the review. The agonizingly long 3-hour movie. It's like, give me a fucking break. I've watched my kids sit and do 5 1-hour episodes in a row. He says, here's the big social paradigm.
Paradigm?
Paradigm.
Are you trying to say
Thank
paradigm?
You. That's him. I'm saying it how he said it.
We're fixing it for him. Okay, great.
Shift that has to happen. It's okay to get up and pee. Which is it. So there's 2 things going on here. One, hey, shut up about long movies.
Okay,
People
sure,
binge
sure.
watch things. And 2, just go to the toilet during my movie.
Yeah.
Just walk out. It's fine.
Yeah, well,
I don't care.
All right. There should be one of those. There should be like Tom Cruise or whoever at the start of the movie, but it's James Cameron being like, it's me, award-winning director James Cameron. Just piss whenever.
Yeah.
This also applies to my movies.
So
Just piss whenever.
I think also, do you think there's a distinction between going to the movies and watching a 3.5 hour movie
They feel different.
and streaming at home where you can look at your
Speaking of
phone?
streaming at home.
Thank you. Or get up
Yeah.
or pause it and get a snack.
Go to lunch.
It's a different and they're also obviously paced differently.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I haven't done that because I do all the time. But it's a different scenario.
Yeah.
But also, if a movie's long, if it's compelling, it doesn't matter to me.
It's true.
But like Morbius, what was that? Like 40 minutes long?
Yeah.
Excruciating. It felt like it went forever because it was so boring and dull and hard to talk about. So I don't know.
You could barely talk about it in the theater. It's your seatmates. God, this is so hard to talk about. Shh.
You're finding it hard to talk about too. So I don't know. He's getting old. That's what I'm seeing here as well.
Yeah. Okay,
That's what I like. He's entering his cranky years.
Would you suggest perhaps more interviews with James Cameron just to see what he's got in the
See
tank?
what he can say.
What he's itching to say? Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
He's rich. He doesn't give a fuck.
That's
But
true.
He's like, regardless of.
Well, he's rich and but he's like, I wonder how normal he is generally.
Hard to say.
Because I think there is, because he's probably, what's he worth, $1 billion? I don't know.
He would have to be. I mean, close.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I think there are certain people who have that level of money and they just have like a house and a couple of cars and they help their kids out and they have like $600 million in the bank. And there are some people who are like super yachts every day.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious. I think he's probably closer to that one.
Yeah.
But
it seems like he's
still got to do something to your brain.
Yeah,
though,
it says
right?
he's got $700 million, so who knows? But because I think also he didn't make a bunch of money off Titanic for whatever reason. I can't remember why. But I think also he seems to spend his money like he doesn't just spend because like I'm doing the car, I'm doing the yacht. He seems to like I'll buy a submarine, I'll explore ocean depths.
Yeah,
like he
right.
puts his money into things that he genuinely likes. It seems, I don't know. God. And also, those guys that are like, I'm rich or whatever, but I drive a regular car and I live in a regular house. That's weird. Like, why are you even rich then? Just fucking give it away. Like, that's strange. Don't you think that's strange?
It's a little bit strange.
I don't know. I don't like it's a weird flex to be like, I have $800 billion, but I do nothing with it. Then why are you doing any of this?
Give it to us. We'll do stuff with it.
Yeah. Anyways. Wow, Mason. Superman speculation.
Wow.
So this is about Superman may be having a big cameo in Black Adam.
I see.
So The Rock replied to at the Geek of Steel, or it could be at the Geek Sov Steel. Who knows? How do you pronounce it? I don't know. So they were like, "Hey, is Superman? He's going to be the Black Adam man in the Black Adam."
Mm-hmm.
And this is what The Rock said.
Okay, I'm ready.
From back in the day when I was wrestling in flea markets. I'll stop that. For $40 a match, all the way to now, I've learned to always listen to the audience because they always lead you. I'm doing it again.
He's brought it back.
Because they always lead you where you need to go. I hear you, and I've always got you fist. And then he did a fist bump and a winky face emoji. And there's a photo of the emblem of Black Adam, which is presumably a big lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And Superman, and it's like you see them both, and they're like together.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
wow.
Yeah.
Do you think he made that?
Yep.
like Canva or something, one of those apps?
I think someone else made it.
You think you got a guy to do it? You think you got his assistant to
Yeah,
knock
or
up
he
a-
just Googled it and whatever.
Oh, you think it already exists probably.
Yeah, if he can even
Got
do
his
that.
assistant to Google
Yeah.
Black Adam and Superman.
Yeah, I think so.
Fan fiction.
Now, people are also speculating that, like, is this going to be one of those scenarios that has been popular of late where we don't see Superman? Like, he's there,
Yeah.
but we don't see his face,
sure.
which is what we've been seeing
Yes.
the last 2 times he showed up, Shazam and
Peacemaker.
That's right. I mean, obviously, Justice League re-release doesn't count because it was.
If anybody's got
shot
the Hollywood
before.
juice to get Henry Cavill back in the suit and into a scene,
Yeah.
might be the Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
But it also establishes that he still exists in the universe.
That's
et cetera.
true, yeah.
But then again, the Flash might change all of that. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Neither do they. Or we'll find out in a few weeks at Comic-Con. So there you go. This is by the Hollywood Reporter again, Mason. Captain America 4, which Chris Evans also confirmed that Anthony Mackie is on Twitter. He's like, he's Captain America. I'm
That's
not coming
right.
back, which, we know. Got a director in Julius Onah. Now, you were like, didn't he make a bad thing, right?
He did.
He made the Cloverfield Paradox.
That's the worst one of those.
But also, I don't think it was a Cloverfield movie. I think they broke it into the thing that it became.
yeah, they really did, yeah.
He also did a movie a couple years ago called Loose,
Okay.
which is about a kid who was adopted and what's her name? She's blonde and she's Australian. She was in it as well.
Margot Robbie.
No, the other one, Naomi Campbell.
Oh.
She's in it. And it's really great. Like, it's excellent. So I think
Okay.
given the opportunity and if they don't try to turn, like if they had to turn that movie, for example, into a Cloverfield movie, the good one that he made,
Sure.
I don't think that would have been very good either.
Interesting.
So I think this is fine.
Great.
Or bad. I don't know.
Whoa.
But what I'm saying is I think this is actually quite good news.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
All right then.
we'll see. We did have that Captain America series of late, and all in all, whatever, I guess.
Sure.
It was
Oh,
all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Kind of wrapped up the same way.
I was speaking of Margot Robbie, which you were not, but I was.
Yeah.
You excited for the Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
I am,
right?
yeah. It looks actually interesting.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Kens and Barbies in it, apparently.
Okay.
What, are they in the real world? What's happening?
It seems like it could be like the Brady Bunch movie, like
Okay.
where, like I don't know if they're toys or not in this, or they're toys that have come to life or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the Brady Bunch movie, they're still the Brady Bunch, but the entire world's like, what is with these people? What
Yeah.
is going on?
You think it's
I think it
probably-
might be a little bit something like that.
Might
Yeah.
be right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
Got a tiny bit of news before we talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. Or we can do the boys first. What would you prefer?
Tiny bit of news.
No, I mean, we'll do the tiny bit of
Yeah,
news.
yeah, okay,
And then
great.
we do Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yes,
or we
terrific.
do the boys.
I think let's talk about Thor, Love and Thunder.
Okay. A little bit of sizzle here as well. We have very different opinions on that movie.
Sure do.
And we're going to talk about them right after we do this little bit of news.
But maybe pause and guess who likes it more. The answer might surprise you.
Say it out loud as well.
Yeah, wherever you are, if you're in a library or on a bus or something, just be like,
Yeah.
Mason, you
That's
can
right.
say.
That's right.
Or James.
That's right.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's nobody there by those names because then you'll have to acknowledge them in some way.
Or
Mason-
maybe it'll spark a wonderful conversation.
That's true. And a new enemy will be forged in your life. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yes.
Great. This is by the Rolling Stone. Taika Waititi was talking to them. And
We're calling him the Rolling Stone now.
that's right, the Rolling Stone. And they said, they were asking him about
Just Mick Jagger.
yeah, just Mick Jagger. Well, he's the one that counts, I guess. So they were asking him about, and the other one. You know the other one?
Yeah.
Keith Richards. And they were saying, like, talking about his Star Wars movie. And he said, he was speaking to Natalie Portman, and she said to him, what do you do next? And I said, I'm trying to work on a Star Wars thing. Have you ever wanted to be in a Star Wars movie?
Oh, Taika Waititi.
She said,
Oh, Taika.
I've been in Star Wars movies. And he said, like, oh, I forgot about those ones. So I think that's quite funny. And when I saw this article of like, oh, Natalie Portman's, Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, I was like, oh, that would be good. Oh, wait, no, they did that. They already did that.
They sure did. Now, in the Star Wars comic books, I think it's the Darth Vader comic books. We haven't talked about this before, but isn't there a storyline where he teams up with one or maybe all of Padme's surviving handmaidens?
And there's one that looks like a lot like her. But that could also, I think that was also supposed to be like Keira Knightley. So if they did that,
and they would
eventually
get Keira Knightley, right, yeah.
presumably. I don't know. Anyways, it's time, Mason, to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder. And like we do when we always talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, I like to talk about the budget and box office performance
budget and box office.
as of so far. Now, this one is the 4th most expensive MCU movie to date.
Really?
Behind some of the Avengers movies, except for the first one.
I saw that the figure I saw was $185 million. Is
apparently
that not correct?
$250 million.
Whoa, I was way off.
Who knows? I mean, it was also filmed during COVID, and there's a number of things in place because of that. It was delayed multiple times. There's a lot of pretty famous people in this and so on.
Marvel do require a lot of money just to be funneled into a furnace.
That's right.
After a certain point, like if you don't finish on time,
they say this is your fault.
This is your fault.
They make you watch.
That's right.
As they shovel it in. In terms of box office, it's they think it might be a little bit underperforming expectations, but it does seem to have a higher opening than Ragnarok.
Okay.
Ragnarok in the US had a 122.7 opening weekend, million opening weekend.
Sure.
And
not decibel.
No. This one is estimated to be anywhere between 140 to 143 million, and then an additional 150 million internationally. So all in all, it'll probably be around the 300 million mark, give or take. Now, in terms, this is something I sometimes talk about or have never talked about.
Oh, yes.
It's got a cinema score of a B+.
Oh, and a Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah.
I'll just check now, of a very nice
68%. Yeah, so I thought. Is it cinema score? What's the thing? It's, the one I'm talking about?
The audience score?
Yeah, it's basically that, right? So I think that can also affect it. Like an A+ movie generally will perform better over the longer term. This one seems to have divided people a little bit more. What do you think the story was?
Oh, all right, hang on. Okay, all right. So Thor.
Yep.
Remember Thor? He was all, I'm sad. Remember that? But then he got over it. And then in this time around, he's back, baby. He's doing these adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's like, I love zapping things and punching things and smashing stuff.
Being silly.
But I wish there was more to life,
More for Thor,
there was more for Thor. I wish there were more for Thor. But then other stuff happens. For example, Gore the God Butcher's out there and he's killing all those gods, so maybe.
For time, you could have said E.G.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good. Okay, so E.G., for example, Gore's out there and he's killing all those gods. Yeah.
And he wants to stop that.
He wants to stop that.
Yeah.
I want to stop Gore.
So.
And also, there's where's Natalie Portman?
She's Thor.
Jane Foster. Yeah, she's also Thor. That's not a surprise. In the comic books, this series went for like 7 years, and that was a big surprise.
That's right. Yeah.
But in this, it's not a surprise because it's in the trailer.
No. And in the comics as well, you can kind of disguise who is Thor.
Yes.
The version of Thor that she is, because you put a helmet on and it's drawn, and you're like, who is that mysterious woman? But in this, you put a helmet on Natalie Portman, and you're like, that's clearly Natalie
Portman in a helmet, sure. Yeah.
Got to say, that helmet wildly fluctuates in quality, doesn't it?
From sure does, yeah.
Anyways, I had a really good time with this, and you...
Explain yourself.
Okay.
I'm not going. This isn't a trap. I'm just curious.
Sure, okay.
You had a really good time.
Yeah, I just thought it was really ridiculous. I don't know whether it was even that it was funny, because I don't think the gags maybe landed as much as the last one. Okay. But it's just very silly. And I also think a lot of the heartfelt stuff, which is in the back end, seemed to work also. And then they roll in Russell Crowe and he's doing his best Con the Fruiterer. That's a local reference. Look it up. There's some stuff in this that is just so bizarre and silly and strange. And also, I think, the universe kind of expands out in a big way. I thought Christian Bale was really good as the villain. It's not perfect. There's a bunch of things in this which I will end up, criticizing.
Oh, interesting.
But
criticism for this movie?
Yeah, but I just thought it was pretty fun.
I'll tell you this much. You did mention it, and we've had a number of people tweet at us about this.
Yeah.
They're like, what's Russell Crowe doing? So, to be clear, what he is doing is he's channeling the power of every 1980s Greek-Australian fish and chip shop proprietor.
Yes.
That's
or parody of that.
That's what he's doing. It was a big thing in the 80s. That's exactly what he's doing. It's like you said, it's a little bit Con the Fruiterer. It's a little bit Franco Cozzo.
It's wild because I'm loving the era that he's gone into.
Yes.
He's just kind of leaning into being like, I'm a kind of Santa-y kind of kooky old guy.
Yes.
Where he was like, he's Gladiator, or he's a serious reporter, or he's like taking down the mob, and now he's just like, fuck it, I'm doing this.
That's right. I enjoyed his performance. I think
well, you said it was your favorite part.
My favorite part of this movie, I think. He's really going into that, and the question, of course, has arisen, is it racist?
I mean, probably.
Well, it's interesting because it's sort of, for people who are not in Australia, there's a big kind of, what he's doing is he's channeling this specific kind of, in the 80s and 90s, what was huge was a certain type of ethnic comedy, which sort of sort of favoured like Greek Australian, Lebanese Australian, Italian.
There's a soon-to-be completed trilogy of films called The Wog Boy.
Well, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Can't say that outside of Australia.
No, that's not a word that you should say in other countries.
Yeah, but that's...
Should I take this out?
No, it's fine.
I mean, it's a movie. Like, there's a poster and everything. It's a real thing. It's not a word that I use, but it's it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what did you not like about it, though?
That particular performance.
No, in general.
Though. Look, first of all, let me say this.
Okay.
Let's do a little caveat here. Folks, if you're out there and you've purchased tickets for Thor Love and Thunder in the near future, and you're very excited and you're going to go out there and you're having a great time at the movies, or you have seen it already and you did have a great time at the movies and you want to chat to some people about it, or you're waiting for that 45-day window so you can watch it on Disney Plus and you're pretty confident you're going to have a great time at the movies.
Yeah.
If you're a part of any of those groups and you think that somebody criticizing this movie might lessen your enjoyment of the movie, I would probably recommend skipping to the next segment of this podcast. And I say that based on some feedback I have received in the past when I did criticize, for example, some big Marvel blockbusters like Eternals or Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not going to win any friends.
No, it also works the other way. Mm-hmm. So I feel like for me, people will be like, you love everything, etc. Mm-hmm. Why don't you stop sucking its dick and all that, etc. and so forth. If I like this, it doesn't matter at all.
Well, really. Exactly. Our opinion shouldn't matter, really.
I think, though, I think this might be the first Marvel movie. This is the most divided we've been on anything.
Oh, do you think so? Not even Eternals?
Well, no, because I didn't like Eternals very much.
Oh, you loved it.
I definitely didn't love it.
That's interesting.
We did a whole episode on it.
I remember you loving it a lot.
I said I didn't like it.
You said let's go to the tape. I loved it.
That's good, actually.
Yeah, it was
Thank you for bringing that in. That was boring. I don't think it did enough with the universe.
Yeah.
And,
hang on, let me just check. What else is on this tape of you? Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. James, please.
I meant that, though.
Yeah, no, I suppose.
And I will not be deleting that tweet.
Anyway, look, I think people should not. I think you shouldn't. We're just two guys in a room. You shouldn't necessarily. It shouldn't lessen. If you went in there and you felt that enjoyment and you felt satisfied by the movie going experience, anybody saying anything else about it shouldn't.
I think that's most people, though. Just like, okay, cool. And this is what I think regardless.
Anyway, what I think is this movie was awful. Like
Thorful?
Thorful.
Wow.
Like, just absolute bottom rung Marvel as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Just, look, I've got a lot of notes. Hang on, let me go to the
don't
notes.
doubt it.
Yeah.
While you're gathering that.
Okay, please.
For a couple of things, Chris Hemsworth said, I'll wait for fans to say, no thanks, we've had enough of you for when he leaves Thor. He wants to do it forever, it seems. Also, good paycheck. And via the AP News, Taika Waititi said, I'm going to make Thor in love. It's probably the last thing that a Thor fan really wants to hear. For me, it's good to give fans something they don't know that they want.
What about the first two Thor movies?
That's what I thought as well. Like, 3 of the 4 are love stories, right? And and even in the movies, like, outside of that, so like the first or second Avengers, like he's talking about Jane Foster and whatever. Like, he's a romantic character, so there was nothing in this that made me go, this isn't the Thor that I remember.
Like, isn't Thor, like, perhaps the mythological basis of Thor is not romantic.
No, but I'm like this.
Yeah, but when I think of Thor, I'm like, oh, it's a historical figure and he's all Fabio-esque and he's got the hair on. That's a romantic whole situation. Anyway, well, speaking of criticism, like, over the years of these Marvel movies, we've certainly had a lot of people that are like, a lot of reviewers that are like, bloody, here comes another cog coming out of the Marvel assembly line, whatever. And I'm always like, that's not a productive line of criticism, because it's like criticizing, a rom-com.
Yeah.
Just because it's got elements of a rom-com. It's like,
just because it's got Catherine Bigelow. No, Catherine
Heigl?
Yes.
Oh, it's Catherine Heigl and Seth Rogen, and they meet and they don't get along, but then there's a series of circumstances happen and they fall in love. Oh, yuck, more of that. Like, that's not just because it has those elements. What you need is you need a cast and your crew, and you need to bring that in.
Yeah.
Like something. And like, it's the same. The Marvel formula, we all know what the Marvel formula is. It is, there's a bad guy and he wants to do a bad thing and or get a bad thing.
Yes.
And it's up to the good guy to
this
stop.
This one, it's both.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Also, we're going to do spoilers down the line.
Yeah, we'll do spoilers eventually.
Yeah.
And the good guys have to stop him.
Yep.
And they do so sort of via the medium of 3 to 4 large action sequences that are strung together with exposition and quips. right? And so I think the best of the Marvel movies, we get like exciting and innovative action sequences. We get quips that work with the characters. We get exposition. Like they're all going to have exposition, but it's hidden in scenes in a world that seem real.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I feel like what Thor Love and Thunder asks is, what if we did the Marvel formula and we added nothing?
Okay, so do you think like it feels like Ragnarok kind of redone?
No, it feels to me like they just got the absolute bare skeleton of the formula and they went, all right, so we need to get the characters from A to B with some exposition. Let's just have them say the exposition.
Okay.
Do
you think that like was aided by the fact that a lot of this was shot in lockdown or on the volume or green screen?
And it wouldn't shock me if a lot of scenes they didn't really know where they were going to go.
There's a particular bit at the end where they're in like a void.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is the volume, obviously.
Yes, right.
So I agree. I totally agree with you.
Like, for example, I'll try not to spoil anything, but just speaking in vagaries, like the opening sequence where we meet Gore.
Yeah.
And, his ethos is all gods must die.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts out, I think, fairly strong. He's sort of wandering the desert with his child. And,
I thought that was really good.
Yeah. But then it wasn't so far away. It may as well have been he gets handed a big, like, burglar's sack that says motivation on it. Just like it was so the scene where he goes on his mission, like it felt so like on the nose and kind of so
like the way that the way he was presented with the weapon, the gods that he came across, like that kind of thing.
Just the delivery of like the runtime in this movie is short. We got 2 minutes to make this happen.
Yeah.
Let's just throw it in there. And it felt like every scene was that.
Really?
Like to me it felt like every scene was, and James, I know you've seen this, but the episode of SNL, the Jeremy Renner hosts.
Oh,
Remember there was that obligatory like Avengers Hawkeye scene
I remember that,
where it's just actors standing shoulder to shoulder and they're just saying words.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like every scene of this movie was just that.
So maybe if you like mixed it in more with the action sequences or as they're doing something.
Yeah, but it really just felt like people standing there and then going like, we need to go and get to the new thing. We need to go to the next area. Oh, well, how are we going to do that? Well, I've got a ship. All right, well, let's get on the ship.
Well, it's funny.
Like a quip, exposition, another quip, scene transition.
Okay,
next
sure.
Scene.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think also like a lot of stuff was tried in this like it was with Ragnarok. Because Ragnarok was like, I remember saying something like 80% like improvised. And I think it would be very possible that that's what's going on here. Because I've got a list of things which I'll talk about later which were cut out.
Okay.
And I think that, this was a lot of throwing like stuff against the wall and seeing kind of what would stick.
Right.
And I think it does kind of, in moments it leaves kind of odd gaps or weird pacing and
it was
things like that.
It was weirdly disjointed and like tonally weird. So I suspect a lot of criticism of this movie is going to be brushed off as like, well, actually, you wanted something different from the Marvel formula, and this is a full-on comedy. So if you think too hard about it,
I don't think it is a full-on comedy.
It's not though. First of all, I disagree. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it is a full-on comedy. I think it is just the Marvel formula again with more jokes, which is different from being a comedy. But I think people like, if you think about this too hard, you're a big-time loser kind of thing. But like. First of all, I'm not thinking about it.
First of all, we have to. This is the show we do.
But first of all, when I'm in the movies, I'm not thinking about it too hard. I'm just being presented with a narrative and I'm like, my brain just goes, does this make sense or does it not make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Does it feel real or does it not feel real? And also, if you spent like more than a decade building a universe, like an all-encompassing universe, and the secret to its success is that people think about it too much, I think it's too late to then go, oh, you thought about this one? Big mistake. Shouldn't have thought about it. This one's all about not thinking about it.
I see. I didn't feel that at all. I didn't think it like came apart when you thought about it. I think as like most of these,
here's an example for you, James.
I would love to hear it.
Okay. So Gore's mission is to all gods must die.
Yep. By the way, I thought he was great. I thought
he's good. I think
really
he's doing well with what he had.
If anything, I'd like to have seen more.
I
of him in this.
reckon that he read all the 7 years of the comic run, and then he's like, "I'm ready to be Gore," and they're like, well, here's some X's to stand on.
Yeah, well, that's probably.
But he
got Eccleston.
Yeah, he did get Eccleston. So Gore's oath is that all gods must die.
Yep.
I
swear to God, all these gods are going to get it.
Given the gods were presented in this movie, is he wrong?
No.
No, he's 100%.
And that's what I
correct.
think is compelling about it.
Yeah.
Where at the end, like the choices that he makes and the things that he does, I'm like, yeah, he should do this. Because every single god we meet in this, with the exception of like the core cast,
Right.
awful.
So why is he not the good guy then?
Because he would, I don't know.
Because like.
Because he would kill Thor, I guess.
That's why. So like, there's even a scene. There's a piece of dialogue, sort of midway, where it's revealed that the gods have a little wager going.
Yeah.
To see which of them can get the greatest number of their followers to sacrifice themselves. So how long's this been going on? And how many people has it been? So has it been like 1,000 years? It's been like 1 million people. So that's like a bunch of Thanoses.
Yes.
Just a bunch of tin pot Thanoses just running around like running little death cults.
Yes.
So that's bad.
Yeah, I know, but it's also like these are the gods that we see. So like presumably there are other gods. Apparently like the Black Panther god is actually in this.
Oh.
So I think there are like other gods in this universe that aren't terrible.
But we don't see any of them.
No, we don't see any of that.
But what I'm saying is like Thor's whole deal is that he couldn't stop Thanos.
Oh, we see the big tiger one was a nice one. When Thor, it's from the comics. The big kind of stone tiger mountain.
Oh yeah,
one.
okay.
He's like, this one was cool.
Yeah, but we don't see him do anything cool.
No, but he says this one was cool.
We need what I'm saying is that Thor's whole deal was he couldn't stop Thanos and it ruined him.
Yeah.
But now we learn it's a joke for us, the audience. And if it was in like Meet the Spartans, it would be a funny joke. But in the movie,
The one funny joke.
But in the movie, it's real.
Yeah.
And like that means that there's a bunch of guys out there that he should be like Thor should be stopping them as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think also that's what's interesting about it, and then we can't talk about it till spoilers, and the decision he makes that Gore makes at the end isn't about the universe and the gods. It's a personal decision that he makes at the end, and I think that kind of plays into...
But his personal decision should be that all gods must die.
No, not necessarily. But we'll talk about it at the end. Anyway, I just want to quickly talk about they changed the sword. So in the comics, the sword it's a Venom sword.
Yes.
And presumably because it had clashed with Sony, it'd be a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
They change it. It's a Shadows sword. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
I just thought it was interesting. Here's some things that I didn't think worked comedy wise, Mason.
Okay,
I thought Jane Foster trying out different catchphrases. By the way, I thought she was great. By the way, I think Natalie Portman is a really good Thor.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see more of her. We'll get into that more at the end, I guess. But like, I thought the screaming goats was not like a particularly compelling. Like, I thought
if
it could have been utilized more.
Yeah.
As like it was like the joke was just that they're
I
screaming.
kind of like this. There's when we first see the screaming goats and they're sort of being corralled into Thor's ship.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny.
But it doesn't get better. They don't do anything else with it.
No, they don't
past
do
that
anything else
point,
with
yeah.
it. There's at the start of the movie, Thor is teaming up with the Guardians to do like a little Guardians adventure.
Yeah.
Which we see in the trailers. And there's like a priest. He's helping out this.
That's Stephen Curry.
Oh,
I was
Australian
like,
Stephen
who
Curry.
is that? And I
Australian-
looked at Stephen Curry. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying helping with the priest. So you didn't like that little action sequence where he does the Van Damme splits and all that and he flies up through the
It's pretty
thing?
fun.
Okay,
It's all right.
cool. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like you can, if you want to make it a comedy, it still has to work in the context of the larger universe that it exists in, because otherwise it breaks stuff.
Yeah.
Like the boys can do jokes in that universe, but like if there was a scene where Butcher's like, oh, we're going to get Homelander and I've got these laser eyes now and I tested them on a hospital. Like they wouldn't go, classic Butcher, let's move on.
Yeah.
The scene would be about like, did you just kill a bunch of people?
Yeah.
And it's weird that like nobody reacts. Like Jane Foster isn't like, Thor, do you sacrifice people as well? Do I have to do that now that I'm a god?
But I think the general understanding in that scene where they're at the center of gods and whatever, they're just all the worst ones that get together and do that.
So why wouldn't Thor just give the address of that place to Gore and then be like, if you leave everybody
Well, maybe
else
he
alone.
would have. Maybe he, I don't know. Not maybe he would have. I don't know.
He doesn't though.
Yeah, but I think he also knows that out in the universe there are people that are.
Well, I would
good.
love to have a scene where, and again, this is one of the shortest Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and I say maybe give us an extra scene where there's a god trying to help their followers grow some crops or whatever, and Gore just shows up and slashes them to bits, and you go, oh, he's gone too far now.
Okay.
No,
I'm glad.
Or really any gods being killed on screen.
I'm
would be
glad
nice.
that they didn't do that. I'm
Why's
glad that they left it ambiguous. I'm glad that they left it like that Gore was Gore's right. Because I think one of the cop-outs from the first Black Panther movie, the one that has been out as of so far, is that Michael B. Jordan and the decisions he's making, you're like, oh, he's right. And then it's like, oh, I'm just going to kill anybody. And it's like, well, okay, now you have to be stopped, obviously. Whereas this, there wasn't that moment of like, oh, we saw him like kill that orphan, so now he's got to die. There was never that moment, and I liked that.
Right, but he could kill some good gods, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like he didn't kill.
I mean, he did. He killed Falagar, the big
we
big
didn't
dog.
See it, and also we only have Thor's reassurance that he's good. We don't know.
Yeah, but he's the guy.
Nah. What I think the reason that Thor has to the reason that we're supposed to this is Inhumans all over again. Because it's not. Yes, it is, because the good guy is like he's trying to save like the royals.
Yeah.
But he doesn't care about the little people, like the sacrifice people.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about those people.
But I think also there's probably, and you're probably right, that this could have been elaborated on, that there would be a knock-on effect. Anyway, I feel like I'm just going in circles.
All right, okay.
But yeah, look, it's a valid point, but I think slightly different thing, Mason.
Okay.
I think I'm done with Korg, though. I don't think he needed to be in this like as much as he is.
But somebody needs an extra paycheck.
Maybe. But I don't know. It's like he could have been like a little cameo. You know, I don't think he needed to be like for
throughout
most of the adventure.
Movie, right,
which he, for the most part, is. Anyway, should we do some... another thing, a joke that I did think worked was the Mjolnir and Stormbreaker kind of scenario. You know, there was that kind of rivalry.
So are they sentient or are they not sentient?
I don't know. Okay. It's never explained.
Because if they're sentient...
Well, Stormbreaker's got a bit of, like, Groot. So that could have a component of it. I don't know.
Look, we'll have to talk about it. We'll have to talk about an element of that in spoilers, I think.
But I also like the Mjolnir as a weapon. Like, it's got a slightly different thing it can do because it's been shattered. It can split into different parts. And I thought that was great.
I mean, that's like, all right. Like, Iron Man's got those shoulder thingies that do basically the same thing.
Yeah.
He's had those for 10 years.
I mean, they all shoot lasers.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like...
The new weapon was nothing, by the way. The lightning bolt.
Oh, right.
That's not really anything.
Yeah. But what, like...
It looks ridiculous, which I think is the point.
Yeah. But I feel I haven't been critical enough. What was the best action sequence?
I thought I can't talk about it. The one towards the end.
Oh.
Yeah, which is
talk about it. Like it would be action sequence like 3 or 4. Like which like third act action sequence?
Yeah, like third act.
Okay,
right.
Yeah. See, I feel like that probably had the most creativity to it. The one that I liked the most, but like I didn't feel like any of this was really dynamic or exciting. It felt like mostly just people talking in rooms.
Yep.
And then like there's this one's in the trailer. You know, there's an action sequence that's sort of in black and white. I feel like there were a couple of monster designs that I thought were pretty interesting. Like there's one that's sort of like it's got like a herky-jerky kind of Harryhausen kind of effect to it. But again, I don't think the action sequence was any good. I think they had a little shade of Suicide Squad to them where it's just like...
First Suicide Squad,
actually. Yeah, first Suicide Squad, where they're just muddy men.
No, that is... Yep, I'd agree with that.
And they're just... I think like one of the...
Because they're supposed to be shadow creatures.
Yeah, but I think like one of the downfalls of perhaps superhero movies can tend to be it's all about the heroes doing the pose and doing the move and shooting the lightning and the lasers and what have you at just nothing. Because the nothing, like the villain doesn't matter. It's just they're just rolling over cannon fodder. And I think it'd be way more interesting for them to fight,
something else.
Something interesting.
Yeah, well, I guess we have seen a lot of like armies that they face, like faceless, like robots or aliens or whatever. But I guess we're past that point. Yeah. Anyway, should we do some spoilers?
Yeah, let me think. Do I have anything else to make fun of?
I'm sure you do, Mason.
No, I definitely do. I'll also, and we'll get to this in spoilers, I feel like a lot of this movie, they decided where it was going, like elements of it were going to end up, and they plotted it backwards, which I hate.
Yeah.
Like where they go, oh, okay, well, we need the characters to be here. How would they get here? Well, what if they did this? Well, it wouldn't make sense for the characters to do this, but we've got to get them there, so we'll just have them do that. In fact, I think the end of the movie, they maybe thought of first and worked backwards.
Okay. Yeah. Counterpoint.
Yes.
Maybe you just went in wanting to hate this, Mason.
Oh my God, maybe I did.
That's my favorite valid criticism.
I've committed several cardinal sins of movie reviewing. One, I went in going to hate it. 2, I'm a big DC fanboy, and I love everything DC, and I hate everything Marvel. And 3, I didn't list a bunch of things in order, and then after each one say that I thought they were cool. So I'm sorry, everyone.
That's all right. We can always re-record something next week.
That's
maybe.
very true. I think maybe a lot of other stuff.
Let's just do some spoilers. Then.
Okay. But if I may,
yeah,
I don't think this is a spoiler because it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Well, Gore doesn't kill anybody on screen. He supposedly killed 1,000 guys.
He kills a guy up top.
Well, yeah. But then the rest of it's just oh my God, we're getting all these distress calls. Look at all these dots. Look at all the gods he's killed. Show me any of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
See some interesting gods.
Interesting gods, yeah.
That's fair enough.
Nice.
Yeah. An extra 10 minutes of god killing is what you're saying.
Please. I mean, again, this was the shortest one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the shortest
Well,
one.
it's one of the shorter ones that we've had. Also, that's good.
Yeah. Well.
Shorter is okay. Anyways, before we do spoilers, we say best movie ever, worst movie ever. Obviously, you're going to say...
I'm going to say worst movie ever.
And obviously, I'm going to say the opposite. I thought it was best movie ever.
Yeah, the best movie ever, James.
It's the best movie ever. And you think this is the worst movie ever?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's quickly talk about a couple of the new elements introduced, Mason, including, this is an older element. Sif is back, briefly.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen more of Sif. Is she going to get the destroyer arm? Because she has one arm at the end.
Yeah.
I hope so. Or somebody should get that arm. Somebody should get that bloody arm, Mason.
Sif, you're in such a battle.
Yeah.
We didn't see it, but you were in it.
She
Your
was.
arms come off.
Yeah. From the battle.
Yes.
There's a little Heimdall. Did you see?
It's what his son.
Yeah. He's in it.
I know.
I didn't know he had a son.
Nope. He's due for this.
He's
He's one of those child soldiers.
That's right.
Yeah.
The action sequence I was talking about that I liked, and I guess it's not so much the action, but it's more the concept of Thor temporarily giving his powers out to all the Asgardian
at the end of Buffy.
children, maybe. And then that's not a show. No one's seen it.
Uh-huh.
But and they all have. Then they got their own little weapons that they use, and they do a big battle. I thought that was really fun.
Maybe Gore could have opened up the Shadow Realm, and all the children that have been sacrificed by the gods could have come out and fought those children.
That would have been sick, man.
Would have been sick.
Or just spiders or whatever.
Yes, more spiders. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Just some whatevers. Just some sludge.
Yeah.
Just could have blasted some sludge.
No, I thought that was really cool, and I think that final moment, leading with Jane Foster and with teaming up with Thor to take out Gore was good, and also the moment where they're having a little discussion and Gore, who's been completely stripped of his powers, managed to slowly crawl his way into eternity.
Yeah.
They could have got him, but they didn't. They just let him crawl in there.
Eternity's...
It's the volume, yes.
Well, yes, it is the volume. So eternity exists at the center of the universe.
Or something.
And if you go to eternity, you can wish for something and it'll happen.
Because eternity's there.
Because eternity's there. So your options are...
I can't believe they put eternity in this.
You think it's a waste of eternity?
I just can't believe they did it because it's so bizarre.
It is bizarre. So your two options are you could wish for every god in the universe to die.
Yep.
Or you could wish for one little girl to come back to life.
Yep.
Nothing else?
I would do that.
Couldn't wish for your wife to come back to life, who doesn't exist in this movie for some reason?
Nah.
Wow. All right,
Maybe
great.
she sucks.
Couldn't wish for your daughter and yourself to come back to life?
No, one wish, Mason.
Oh. It's all the one sentence, though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure the specifics of how it works.
And I'll tell you for why they don't do that, James.
I think he couldn't wish himself back because...
Why not?
Because he's corrupted by the thing and the whatever.
Here's the thing. So I don't want to compare this too much to the comic books because it cannot possibly
And they're
compare.
also very, very different. There's some core or gore ideas, if you will, which are carried over, but they are very different.
Yeah. So in the comic books, his wife and his child die.
Yeah.
But in this, his wife doesn't exist.
But did at some point, presumably.
She might be mentioned, but we don't see her. But the reason I feel clearly is that they at the end of the movie they wanted Thor to have a daughter.
Yeah.
A daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So they just wrote out the wife. But that's weird because she's never even mentioned. I don't understand how he wouldn't go, I wish for my wife to come back to life and look after the daughter or whatever if he couldn't come back to life.
Yeah, okay.
So it's well, they clearly just...
Yeah, I mean, he could have wished...
weird they chopped
Why
around.
didn't he wish for a second wish? Then he would have had two wishes.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if he wished for a second wish, he'd only have one wish because he used his first wish to wish for a second wish. But yeah, no,
Perhaps,
I mean, when you open it up to you have a wish...
Yeah,
it could be anything. And then you've got infinite scenarios of why didn't he do this, why didn't he do that.
But I mean, that's the thing. If one element of it is I could kill I don't know how many gods there are in the Marvel universe, but 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000, I don't know. But there's not enough power to bring back two people to life.
Maybe she died under a circumstance where for whatever reason.
Like a big rock.
Like a big rock or she didn't want to come back. Maybe she died of natural causes or I don't know.
Well, then we should have put her in the opening sequence.
Maybe,
and then we'd know.
But you can't put it in the opening sequence when you get to the end of the movie because the movie's it's already happened.
Oh no, you're right, and they film them in order.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, that's Chris Hemsworth's daughter as well.
That's why it happened. Yeah, no, I learned that afterwards. But the opening sequence where Gore and he goes like it starts out nice, and I even think the idea of like this surreal. He goes into this kind of surreal oasis because that's an interesting. You always see people in they're dying of thirst in the desert and they see an oasis and it's not real. But in this case, it is real. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But then he goes in there and like his god is like cartoonishly indifferent to whether this guy's going to live or die or whatever. But then he's just like the whole sequence is it just sort of devolves into like. Oh, yes. Well, I'm your god and I hate you and I'm glad everyone you love is dead and I don't care if you die. What's that? Oh, it's a sword. It's actually a sword that can kill gods. And if you're near it, it makes you want to kill gods. And gosh, it would certainly kill me. And I really...
It.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be under 2 hours, so you got.
That's true, but it's just like, and if anybody who hated me was in possession of the sword, it could certainly kill me. Oh, you've got the sword now, and you're killing me with it.
But I think also you put that down to like the pettiness of that guy. Well, he's petty, he's vain, he doesn't think he's in any danger. He's also not near the sword when he grabs him with the sword.
It's a magic sword.
Yeah, exactly. I know that, but also
every weapon in this movie you can just grab it from.
But from it, it comes to you like a dog. But also, I guess in that scenario, like the idea of a lot of the gods in this are that they're morons, and like when a lot of the ancient gods, in their mythology, like all the Greek gods and Roman or whatever, they're all petty and they're infighting and they're all inbred and they're stupid, and I think that's a reflection of a lot of the decisions made in this.
I think you've thought about this more than the filmmakers.
I think you've thought about it.
I've definitely. I think we both. I think collectively we've both thought about it more than the filmmakers. Honestly. Why'd the hammer call for Jane?
Because he asked her to look after her.
Did he?
Yeah, there's a moment in a flashback where he's like, "Hey, I love Jane. You should look after her," and then it did.
Is that why she's worthy?
Probably one of the reasons.
Or it's just because they hung out. Is it just because they hung out on the couch a bit?
It's probably a bit of everything. Like we don't really know how it works. I think it works for people when it needs to work.
Did it know that it was killing her?
Well, that's interesting because I don't know.
Whoa!
How much does it know?
Yeah.
Like if it was, then this is a criticism I wanted to bring up. If he told it to look after Jane, then it didn't do that.
Yes.
It did the opposite of.
Yeah, it poisoned her.
But maybe
it's like if you asked your dog to look after somebody and it poisoned them.
So maybe
put arsenic in its tea.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't know that. It doesn't know what chemotherapy is.
Well, see, that's the thing because we don't. Like it's so. This is the first time these weapons have been sentient. It seems.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, okay, so Stormbreaker is jealous of Jane or Mjolnir or something.
Yeah.
And can operate on its own and like sneak around corners and give devilish looks or whatever.
Yeah.
But then as soon as Gore gets it, it's just like, all right, guess I'm just a.
Yeah, I think maybe some of that was just he was calling it and it was like, oh, was that me? Like I don't necessarily think it was like. I don't think it's got full-on sentience. I think it's like jealous as much as like, I don't know, a rat can be jealous.
Okay.
It's got the brain of a rat.
Oh, no.
But I don't know. And if you explain this, it ruins everything. So it's better to not explain it. Because then like, why doesn't it just fly around the universe just killing bad guys all the time by itself?
Isn't that a great question?
Well, yeah, because it's not that sentient. It's as sentient as a rat.
Oh, okay. All right, so if we're going with the rat sentience rule. Okay, all right.
Yeah. I also thought that, I liked the relationship that developed between Jane and Thor. I liked the reasons that they broke up, that they both, had their own things going on and Thor was afraid to get close to anybody, which he would be because he's been around for like thousands of years and he's seen multiple people die, etc. and so forth. And when he finally comes to realize that this is something, that he wants and it's worth either having briefly than not at all.
That's true.
And her death probably would have been even more compelling if we didn't just see her at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Where she was just like, hello, I will be back down the line.
That's right, yeah.
Because, we also see, of course, Heimdall's there. Presumably there's just a magic door you can find to get in or out of that place.
Nobody else, though. Just,
you do a warrior's death and so on. There's probably a bunch of people there. Did Odin have a warrior's death?
No.
He just turned into big Stardust.
He turned into Stardust like a coward.
Well, but then again, Jane and Odin had the same death. They both had the Stardust.
That's true.
Death. You know?
Okay, well, that means...
Thor should have said, while you're wishing your daughter back, say, and Jane Foster not have cancer, please.
No, I can only do the one wish, as we've previously established.
No, he says and. It's run on.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Where's that wife?
She's dead.
Don't
under
like,
a rock.
I don't like it.
She's under a rock, Mason. It doesn't work if she has a wife, Mason.
Do you remember that scene?
Maybe they produce asexually. Maybe they...
Well, then explain. Well, so okay, all right. So, but like everybody in... How about...
He might have a family and a wife, though. They might have said it.
How about this? How about every alien race in the universe mates like Korg's race except humans? So everybody just holds hands and then they've got a... a child or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
So remember the scene where they're like, hey, why don't we use Stormbreaker to go there? And they're like, well, Stormbreaker, you can't rely on Stormbreaker. It's inaccurate and it's unreliable.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's not at all. We've seen it be. It's 100% accurate.
It's 100% accurate all the time, and it's also 100% accurate later in the movie multiple times, including when it's being used by someone who's never used it before.
Yeah.
But what happened is they needed to put them on the boat, and they also needed multiple ways of getting places.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they could have said something like, let's do this regularly.
Yes, they could have said that.
Yeah, it did.
Wouldn't it be better to be on a boat?
I think it would have been, maybe they could have said like, something's going on in the universe and Stormbreaker is fluctuating wildly or something like that because it is the key to the center of the universe and it's throwing off its whatever.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but then maybe they didn't improv that on the day.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, this feels like there should have been a second draft or a second take.
Yeah.
A lot of these scenes. It's just like, give me...
Do you want to talk about some stuff that was cut?
Yes.
Not to stop any of this conversation.
No, I think I'm just about done.
Okay, cool. So we will get back to the post-credits as well because there's a pretty significant one that we will talk about. So Peter Dinklage, Lena Headey, and Jeff Goldblum were in this.
Oh.
So Peter Dinklage is not Etrigan. What's his name? He's the big dwarf guy.
And he forged the Stormbreaker.
Forged whatever.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum obviously was cameoed in previous movies. Lena Headey, I don't know. But the only reason that came out is because her management was suing her for something and it was revealed that she had a role in this that was then cut.
Yeah, right.
Presumably a god or something, or maybe Gore's wife. I don't know.
Wife, that'd be nice to know what happened to his wife.
Yeah, she was under a rock, Mason. Or that he produces asexually.
Under a rock,
you know? There's a moment.
I just don't understand why he'd be like, yeah, no, actually, the guy who I've been trying to kill and he's been trying to kill me, I think you should take my daughter.
But I guess he realizes that Thor is a good person.
And he realizes that the daughter is Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
Yeah, he knew that.
Yeah, he knew that.
Because they knew them, like he probably met her before the scene was shot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Before they improv the scene.
Yeah.
There was going to be a couple of things from Gore that was removed. You know, he's got some scarring on him where he was going to like cut off his tattoos. And they filmed that, but they're like, this is a bit much. There was also a primal scream that Bale wanted to put in, which he likened to something from an Aphex Twin music video. But it was too intense, so they took it out. And speaking of, remember they said in 2019 when they revealed this movie, Tessa Thompson said, as new king, Valkyrie has to find her queen. So that's the first order of business.
Oh, she kissed that lady on the hand.
Briefly.
Do you think that was the queen?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. So Tessa Thompson 2022, though, said, we've had a lot of conversations about it. I think there's a lot of folks that are righteously very hungry for that representation to exist in these movies, as am I. But I also think it's important not to hang the character's hat solely on her sexual identity just because she's a queer character. I think that's one way of minimizing her humanity, actually. It's the only facet that you get to explore her in. I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to see her find somebody to rule with, though.
Yeah.
Because her arc was... I'm just going to stop. Like,
yeah.
I did some stuff and I got stabbed.
I prefer to just do admin, actually.
Yeah, because she's kind of like, I like being king, but the admin sucks. Let's do an adventure. Okay, now I'm going to leave it here and you guys finish the little adventure.
We've done the calculation. There's actually not enough transport devices to get us all back and forth. We've done so one of us is the boat and one of us is the farmer and one of us is the chicken and one of us is the sheep. And if we're all in the boat...
One's a fox, I think.
Yeah, one's a fox is going to eat the sheep.
It's grain,
yeah,
chicken, fox.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Well, and this would be Pegasus,
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, horse and hammer. Yeah, whatever. All the Monopoly pieces.
Yeah.
So, I also at the same time, it's not a Valkyrie story.
No, that's
really,
true. Yeah.
Is it? So I don't know.
Valkyrie spin-off.
Yeah. Maybe.
Did you see there was some sort of Q&A and it was Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson, and I
Was
think
it scenes on something? Notes on a
maybe,
scene?
and it was at a con, I think, and it was
Other very gay
Natalie
thing?
Portman, yeah, and somebody said, "How gay is the movie?" And it got thrown to Natalie Portman. She's like, "So gay," and it's like that. It's not, but also you shouldn't have put somebody on the spot like that.
Yeah, it's.
Like-
what are you going to say? Not very gay.
Just a regular amount of gay, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's probably the most gay MCU movie.
What about Eternals?
Oh yeah, that's gay. There's some gay stuff in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's as gay as Disney is willing to go in.
That's
any
true,
of this.
yeah.
You know?
Regular amount. We can cut most of it out for foreign markets.
Show me a passionate kiss. Show me a passionate kiss, Mason. Do it right now. Practice on your hand.
I can practice on this.
He's got a Morbius calendar.
I have a Morbius calendar here, yeah.
That's for another thing we're doing.
Yeah.
So there was also, the last bit I've got here, there was a dance scene to an ABBA song, but this is Chris Hemsworth, but it didn't make it into for a movie for a few reasons. It was a full-on dance scene. It was full of dance-off, shooting lightning out of his fingertips and so on. They also cut a dance scene out of his Ghostbusters movie in 2016.
They did, didn't they? It was going to be like 40 minutes long.
If you recall. Now let's talk about the second post-credits, or the first post-credits. So speaking of gods in this universe, Russell Rock, Russell
number one god.
we think that he's dead, but he just got lightning through the chest.
Yeah.
Because he was being racist.
Because then he can live to sacrifice kids another day.
Exactly. So
He should be dead.
Yeah,
They
I
all should
agree.
be dead.
I agree.
If the next movie isn't Thor cleaning up all the
well,
evil
he does.
gods.
They do kill a lot of. I think they're foot soldiers that they
Yeah, he
kill.
kills a lot of foot soldiers.
Yeah, golden-blooded foot soldiers.
Also, why doesn't Gore kill all the Asgardian kids once he's got Thor on the way?
He's not a god. He's not a child
Yeah,
killer.
but they're all going to be gods, aren't they?
No, they're not all gods.
They will be gods.
No, they're not. Like, there's only a few Asgardians. Like, they're all super strong.
sounds
like,
godly to
and
me.
durable, but they're not gods in the way that Thor or Loki or the royalty are.
Because of magic?
I don't fucking know. Because of technology that is
wouldn't-
indistinguishable from magic,
but
Mason.
wouldn't Heimdall's son become a god because he's got Heimdall's
Maybe,
powers?
yeah. But is Heimdall a god?
Yeah, I think so. He's a god.
Is in this?
Yeah.
I saw him get stabbed.
Yeah, but you can stab Thor
Yeah,
also.
and Loki, they all
Yeah,
get
they
stabbed.
get stabbed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the definition of
but
gods?
here's the thing. I think, like, if you'd given me a scene where he's like, I could kill you, but I'm not going to kill you because I love kids, because I love my daughter, and you remind me of my daughter, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as he's concerned, they're just the children of gods, and you should have killed them.
I think you went into this movie wanting to hate it, Mason.
I did. That's true. I'm the biggest DC fanboy. I only love DC. I hate Marvel.
Anyways, Hercules is in this at the
Oh,
end.
yeah. It's Brett Goldstein.
That's right. He says, hello, I'm from Ted Lasso. I'm famous, and now I'm in a Marvel
I'm
movie.
the guy you thought was CG. And here I am. I'm real.
That's right.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi spoke to Uproxx about this cameo. He says, I don't know if that's to do with Thor or if it's to do with how that will develop, because obviously Hercules, there's a character from the books as well. And so, yeah, this will be interesting to see, because Kevin, he's obviously the mastermind of all these threads and how they'll tie up and how they meet, mix and match. So I'm curious to find out myself. So I think this was added potentially as just to add a Hercules to the universe, not necessarily as a Thor 5 situation.
Right.
I mean, if they both stick around in the universe, they will meet and be like, you threw a lightning bolt at my father and so on. I'm doing my character from Ted Lasso and so on. Good casting, I think, as well. But what I'm saying is I don't think this is necessarily going to be a Thor 5
right.
situation.
Interesting. Do you think this guy could carry a movie by himself?
I think, yeah, maybe. Yeah. I also think they CGI'd him up a little, bigger.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about how big that guy is normally and when this movie was shot. But then again, when a cameo's shot, who knows?
That's true.
And so
they could have just done the
he's like a lean soccer dude normally.
Yeah, they could have just done the Free Guy and pasted his face on a big muscle man.
That's right. So, but I mean, you like an introduction of you like seeing a thing, and you're like,
I love seeing.
I recognize
That's
things.
the guy.
I
From
see
the thing.
things, and I know things.
Yes,
that's what you say.
That's what I love.
Was that something that you like? Interesting. Sure. He had his club.
He did have his famous Herculean club.
That's right.
Also, I bet DC are kicking themselves because they're all about like Ares and.
Yeah, well, Shazam is going to be, or Black Adam's all going to be like gods and whatever.
Yeah. They're like, damn it, they got Hercules first.
That's all right. You got Aquaman.
That's true.
They've got Namor, so we'll see what happens. Got some reviews here from people who've written in.
Oh.
And like me and you, Mason,
yes,
they are wildly. There's a division here.
Oh,
it's from Peeping Tom. He says spoiler-free review of Thor and Thor Love and Thunder. Christian Bale is great. Turns out Natalie Portman can act if she wants to, and excellent music. So there you go. Hashtag Thor Love
Let
and
me
Thunder.
tell you about the music, James.
Yeah.
Good songs, but I feel like if the scenes were cooler, I'd be like, oh, this is a rockin' good time.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just like you're trying to fix this with Guns N' Roses. You know what I mean?
Am I trying to fix it?
Are you trying to fix it with
That's
Guns
why
N'
I was
Roses?
playing it on my phone during the movie.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You put those headphones on me.
That's right. Jara Kett says, hashtag Weekly Planet Pod, just saw Thor Love and Thunder. Love the emotions towards the end. The first half felt mostly trivial, apart from the precious little gore we got. Liked Jane finally getting her due. Best bit, Con the Fruiter rejoins the MCU. I would say that's probably the tweet that we got that's like most in line with where I'm at. It's from C-Ray, who says, Thor 4. Thor 4 was fun to watch, but felt like something was missing. The magic wasn't working for me during the serious and heartfelt scenes. I didn't feel invested in this one. Worst movie ever. Best pod ever, though.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Not bad.
This is from Vinton, who says, hashtag Weekly Planet Pod. Spoilers for Thor. I love Taika Waititi, but too many jokes. Man, and honestly, Korg should have died. I agree. Because too many funny people together make for too many cuts to jokes. I think there's probably some truth in that as well.
Yeah,
if everybody's like the funny one.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before, like, when we talked about the various Ghostbusters movies, or really anything, like, in the Ghostbusters movie, Egon is funny not because he's doing jokes, because he's so serious, and a contrast on the other. Or like, Captain America in Age of Ultron, which is not, not the greatest one, but, where he's like language.
And it's incredibly funny as a movie.
It's incredibly funny stuff, but because he's just the, he's the man out of time and he hasn't quite caught up to the fact that nobody cares about swearing anymore, whatever it is. But like, James, we have a lot of fun when you ask me to guess the movie based on the scathing review.
It's
but
true.
If you really wanted to stump me, you might want to do guess who said any one of these jokes in Thor Love and Thunder, because I'd be like, Thor, I don't know.
Do you want me to do that?
No. It'd be 0 out of 100, I think.
Yeah.
Because they all sound like, and that's a criticism of the MCU that I think is generally not valid, which is, everybody's quipping.
See, I think sometimes that is valid. And I think, like, for example, in Doctor Strange, there's a few moments where he's like, the Illuminati? And it's like, don't do jokes. You're not a jokes guy. You don't have to be a jokes guy. You don't have to be Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd. You do a different thing. Yeah. I saw an interesting thing of like, kind of where is this going? Who's leading the Avengers? Who's like, because you knew that like Tony Stark and Captain America were the core, if you will, of the universe. Yes. What is it now?
Oh, I think Doctor Strange is taking the arrogant Tony Stark
I think
role.
that's what they're saying, but is that what's happening though?
What do you mean, like?
Like, do you feel that that's a solid enough foundation to put, like, just say, Doctor Strange in 5 years' time sacrifices himself or whatever. Are you going to care in the same way that you did when Tony Stark did it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, if we get it, what are we up to? Avengers 5?
Yeah, probably.
I think if we put him in that, and if we assemble a new team in Avengers 5, I think so. And he's got like, the power set is, it's magic as opposed to technology. It's in a lot of ways, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
They can both like, there's a bunch of guys and I'll shoot out a bunch of stuff and I'll get them all.
I'll get them all.
I'll get them all.
I'll do
one guy's got a targeting thing and the other guy's got a wavy hand thing. But it's essentially the same thing.
And they both have weird little beards.
They have weird little beards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see kind of where all of this goes, and we'll find out obviously at Comic-Con in a few weeks. Where apparently we're going to get a better idea of the direction it's going. I also, just to wrap it up, I liked when Natalie Portman whispered her little, she found her catchphrase and she whispered it at the end, because I think like you couldn't nail that. There was nothing she would have said there would have been like, that's amazing.
Oh, I was going to say that earlier. Like if I related to any of the jokes in this, it was that Natalie Portman thing where she was like, I don't have a catchphrase, because they were kind of poor quality jokes. Because this is her first time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they could have been better.
Yes.
Like there could have been hypothetically, I mean, it could go anyway, but like hypothetically, if she was so excited to do catchphrases and all of her catchphrases are like horrible sexual innuendos and she didn't know because she was just so excited to do a catchphrase, I feel that would be a funny joke.
Okay, sure.
Or something like that. But the fact that you're just like, I'm going to throw a hammer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think the only and then the payoff for that being that, the end bit where she dies in that moment, that tender little moment, Mason, that for me was what made that whole thing pay off. I mean, the rest of that I didn't particularly like, but that end part I did like. So maybe I just like the payoff and not the rest of it, I guess.
Maybe,
would probably be a better way to put that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was pretty good.
No, I thought it was
and
pretty
also
bad.
the Thor movies are mostly okay.
Yeah, I mean, this has given me a new look. Again, we've talked about the first 2 Thor movies on Caravan of Garbage recently, and I still like those 2, and I really like the last one. So
this was the last one.
Oh no! I take it all back. I liked Ragnarok. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened here. I don't know. I feel like look
too much free reign, maybe. Because it seems as
well.
He
didn't write the Taika Waititi didn't write the last one, but he wrote this one.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it's the. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think also people might be fed up with Taika Waititi. As I've noticed on Twitter, people are like he's. Stop with your silliness.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, so I don't know. So maybe he's going to lose the Star Wars movie now.
Oh, I mean, who knows in the matrix of things that make you lose a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Is it Rotten Tomatoes? Is it box office? Is it whatever?
That's right. I like all of his movies and him. Yeah. Unless he gets cancelled for something, in which case I'm with everybody. I'm with the general consensus.
That's exactly right, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Look, ultimately, a full-on comedy would have worked for me if there was an acknowledgement that it was still part of this wider universe, and you've got to follow the rules of the wider universe, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
And also, it wasn't that funny.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't think it was that funny either. I thought it was but fun.
And it was very flat.
Like, visually.
Not even... It was flat visually, but like I said, I think I mentioned it to me, I'll stop saying bad things about this movie eventually. But I feel, because I feel I haven't got it across why I disliked it and how intensely I disliked it. But I feel like it was just it just felt like people standing in a room over and over and over again.
Star Wars prequel vibes?
Yes.
Natalie Portman.
Oh,
curse.
no.
Yeah.
She's done it again.
She did it. It's her fault. Yeah.
Ooh.
Anyways, if you could leave your comments wherever you're listening to this on how one or potentially both of us has completely missed the mark on this one this time. Normally, I agree with James or Mason. Let me write it for you. Normally, I agree with insert host here, but they're way off the mark this time. Anyways, let's move to the next segment of the show, Mason.
Oh, but of the movie, I saw it and I thought it was cool. So just in case anybody's... That should cover it, right?
Yeah, that's all good.
Act 1 I thought was cool.
Yep.
Act 2 I thought was cool. Act 3 I thought was cool. So
equally cool.
Yeah. Well, equally cool.
Is it time to move to the next segment of the show?
Yes, it's what we're reading.
That's right.
What are we going to read?
Hey, Mason, because I'm an idiot.
Go on.
We actually have to talk about The Boys.
No argument there.
I realize. Yeah, thank you. I realized that we're not doing what we're reading.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to do The Boys. You're very far from your microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Like shockingly far. It's embarrassing.
It's because I was shouting all my opinions, my bad opinions about Thor, Love and Thunder.
It's true.
But now I'm going to whisper my good opinions about The Boys.
Why don't you whisper some good opinions? Now, we already get...
Jabs, I love The Boys.
Yeah, you liked it, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about? Let's just do all spoilers.
Okay, great.
It's all out if you're so inclined to watch it.
Yeah.
This season on the whole, was it bloody enough? Did it take you places that you didn't think you could go? I mean, not physically because you watched it in a
Look, overall, it's interesting. When I think about it, it feels like the least bloody season. But maybe it is, because obviously...
Maybe we're used to it.
Yeah, I mean, but then...
Guy was dragged along the road, there was an orgy massacre.
There was an orgy massacre, I forgot about the orgy massacre.
The very first scene of the explosion out of the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it got less gory as it went, but then again, there was eye gouging.
Or is it because when we were first watching The Boys, like season 1, season 2, it was easier to shock us?
Because you don't really see that kind of thing in a...
Yeah, in a mainstream kind of superhero
mainstream
kind of
really anything, I guess.
That's true, yeah.
You don't see this kind of blood and gore.
But I mean, it was bloody enough.
Yeah, also, that's not what makes this show compelling.
No, that's true, yeah.
It's just like an added thing that they do in it all the
Yeah.
time. So one of the big components of this season, though, Mason, it was temporary V. Now, in the comic, it's a pill that you take and then you're fine.
Yes.
Whereas this, it slowly melts your brain away and then you explode or die or whatever. We don't really know.
That feels... narratively, I think, probably more satisfying to me.
At the same time, I do also feel like the way that it wrapped up with that, it was Butcher's going to die.
Yes.
He's not. Or if he does, it won't be until he completes a thing.
Uh-huh.
And Huey...
Like a Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It will kill Homelander, really. And or be on the way to killing Homelander. And Huey's just like, because he didn't take it the one extra time, he's just fine forever.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's just you're fine, you're dead.
Yeah. I think... I mean, maybe that'll come back where they're like, actually, Huey, you already ruined your brain by doing that. But it also...
You probably also ruined your brain with all that rock music you consume, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree, and Simon Pegg's father would also agree with that. But it didn't also feel like that they were getting sicker as they went. Like they had hangovers and they vomited or whatever.
Yes.
But it didn't feel like there was actually like a physical consequence until it was like, oh, Butcher, you're dying, your brain is goo. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think necessarily that they kind of put a bow on that in the most.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also entirely possible that, in the next season, if they need a big action finish, it could certainly be the case that somebody figures out a way to make a stable temporary V, and then they just, all right, let's go nuts.
Huey has to use the last one, and he
makes a big sacrifice. Yes,
or whatever.
Yes.
Speaking of, I mean, I'm jumping around.
But I was going to say, I feel narratively it's more satisfying than just the boys. They're superpowered as well.
Agree,
all the time.
Completely agree. I think this is better than the comic.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Not that the comic, I feel maybe goes up and down. Garth Ennis, who created it, who wrote it. He definitely has a love-hate relationship with superheroes that leans way more heavily towards hate, I think. And that, I think there's certainly been some stellar episodes, certainly been some stellar issues of the series, but I think also a lot of it was kind of horrifying for the sake of being horrifying.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So an element of this, which again I'm jumping around, that I liked was the Huey and Starlight situation that developed. We talked about how he was kind of the jealous boyfriend, which didn't really make any sense, I feel like, for him or their relationship.
Sure.
But I did like at the end where he kind of had the choice of where, I can take this temporary V, I can jump and grab Starlight, save her, but then I'll die.
Yes.
Or I'll think and I'll realize in the situation that, he's grown in the relationship because he's embarrassed, or he was embarrassed that she is stronger than him and always saving him. But he took that opportunity to then put the trust in her and give her the ability to, do a big,
to not die immediately.
Yeah, to do a big light.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And I know a little bit more about her powers because I didn't really know what they were prior to this. I'm sure it was explained, but I'm like, more electricity. Got it. Cool. Got it.
Or light, more light.
Well, I think it's just electric.
And a little bit of flying.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, pretty good.
It's hard to say.
Do you think maybe in the final season they'll all combine piggyback style?
Okay.
Maybe Starlight can fly Butcher around on her back and he can shoot lasers out of his eyes?
That'd be really fun.
That's the only way to take down Homelander, I think.
I think it's also good that they eliminated the fact that Butcher can use the V again.
Or have they?
No, I think maybe. I mean, maybe he could do one, but he'd die immediately.
Yeah.
But he can't just use it every week.
That's true, yes.
Which, again, is like a thing in the comic. You just you can get a bottle of those and just go for your life.
Yeah.
Do you think it's ruled out that any of these characters can just take V and then develop those powers permanently? Because we saw like Kamiko, for example. She lost her powers from Soldier Boy, who we'll talk about. And then she gets them back because she gets the V.
Yes.
If you gave it to like Huey or Butcher, do they get the powers that they had on the temporary stuff?
No, I think they die.
Okay.
I think the difference being is that the blue V, the real original V, can only give you back your powers if you receive them in childhood, I think.
And isn't it also when you're given them at childhood, it could kill you, it could deform you, it could you could end up being a great superhero.
Like regular drugs. They can kill you, they can deform you, they can make you super cool.
That's right.
You don't know until you try them.
So you better not, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Another element of this, though, was Black Noir gets some backstory. Now, again, in the comics.
I thought you were going to say some back injuries, which he certainly also does.
That is true. Now, in the comic books, he is a clone of Homelander.
That's correct.
We kind of knew, we saw a bit of his face in the previous season, and he's got the nut allergy. So we knew that he probably wasn't a clone of Homelander, and we get an actual flashback in this.
Yes.
Where he's just a different guy who wants to be like an Eddie Murphy style action star in the 80s.
He's got the Delirious style suit, doesn't he?
He certainly
a little bit less colourful, but certainly
that's
curves in all the right places,
But I liked how, and this was confirmed by the showrunners, that the idea of those cartoons like being around him all the time was something that were always there, and we only ended up seeing them.
Yeah, right.
This series, because there's so much about that character that we didn't know. Like, what is he thinking? What is he feeling? Why does he do anything? And all of that was.
That'd be a funny like home video extra. Like you can go to earlier seasons and you can flick on the hallucinatory birds and you can see what he's thinking the whole time.
Absolutely. I also thought what was really interesting.
That one's for free, Amazon.
But give us money.
Yeah, give us money if you would.
I thought what was interesting, though, is that apparently in universe, they're going to recast the character because he's a masked character.
Right.
The general public doesn't know him.
I see. Right, yeah.
So that's what they're going to do. I mean, he's dead.
Yes.
And apparently he's not coming back.
Okay.
But they will just put someone else in that suit.
Good idea.
Yeah, and it could be someone else we've seen. Like maybe they end up putting the fish guy in or whatever. I don't know. But that doesn't really matter, I guess. They could do it in any which way. But I think that's a very kind of corporate decision to make also.
Yeah.
You know,
He probably tests really well.
Yeah, it's like when old sitcoms or even newer sitcoms where they're like, oh, this person, I don't know, we'll just recast them, who cares, you know?
Sure.
Like when Charlie Sheen left 2.5 Men, when one of the Darrens left I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched or whatever it was, right?
Yes.
But of course, Homelander and Soldier Boy.
Go on.
Let's Soldier Boy, right?
Okay.
Great inclusion.
Yes.
Great casting. Also, like, you're kind of like, is he worse than Homelander?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Maybe not.
Is the enemy of my enemy my friend?
Yeah.
Or is the enemy of my enemy just a guy who drinks a lot of booze and he's a crazy racist murderer? You know?
Yeah. So it did have me like, this show had me wanting him to be a better person than what he is.
Right,
Because he's very charismatic and Dean Winchester.
Yeah, sure.
Jensen Ackles.
He did Supernatural for 40 years and he's like, no, I will step directly back into another TV series. Thank you.
Yeah. And Matt, like, I wanted him to be like a good guy. I wanted him to like, fight Homelander, and you want to root for him.
Well, you've got the double of.
But he sucks, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, well, you've got the double of he's charismatic. He's Jensen Ackles. He's very charismatic, and also he's portraying a Captain America-esque character.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, he'll probably turn good, or he'll learn to live in the modern era. But no, he's awful. Also,
he's awful through and through. But also for reasons, it gives you lots of opportunities in this, and it's the same with Soldier Boy and Homelander to be like, these guys are awful, but I get it.
I loved all the shift. I loved all the shifting allegiances this season. I mean, we've had them before, but I love the idea of just this group. We've got Butcher, we've got Soldier Boy, we've got Homelander. All of them are dangerous in their own ways. They're all like, they're all a bunch of coiled springs. And who knows who's going to go off on whom?
Absolutely. And I also like that Mother's Milk story of, he was looking to get a big revenge. But Butcher's revenge trumped his revenge.
Yeah, right.
And Butcher, in his eyes, like, it's not even necessarily that he's doing the right thing. He's like, no, this is my priority. I'm going to take this away from you for my purposes, because he also, like most people in this show, sucks.
That's
but
true.
I saw an interesting thing also. I think this is from Eric Kripke, where Queen Maeve gets a kind of a nice ending where she loses her powers and an eye, and then gets to go off and live as a normal person.
For now.
Well, no, but they said that she'll be back. But they said also that this is a moral universe where if you do the right thing, you a lot of the time you will be like rewarded for that, and that's what they were doing here. Like it does feel often very kind of negative, and there's a lot of like narcissism in all of the characters.
Sometimes your girlfriend will get
cynical.
run over in the street.
Exactly, but we didn't know her when she got
dust.
Yeah, we didn't know her though.
Dust and gore. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think that's interesting that it's not maybe as cynical as you necessarily think all of the time.
Right.
Even though it is, Yeah. But I think she'll be repowered at some point.
Yeah, maybe, right?
It'll all kind of
she'll have a cool eye patch
again. So a big part of this though was also Herogasm. Like they were leading up to it. And I talked about it briefly on the show, this show that we do.
Oh,
we're
my
doing
goodness.
We're actually doing
it right now.
Yeah. And you hadn't seen it.
That's correct.
Was it as like shocking to you as probably not?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that's the desensitized thing, or do you think it's another thing?
That's a really good question. I mean, it's certainly one of the weirdest things we've seen in any form of superhero media. Probably couldn't put it in a Marvel movie, could you?
You probably couldn't put it in a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Especially since all the characters are probably owned by Amazon.
That would be a key component of this.
And also all the sex and violence and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe it is being desensitized. I mean, seen weirder stuff in movies.
Yeah,
probably.
I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, oh, how disappointing.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, I thought the fight afterwards was like the most kind of surprising element of that that episode. He's got a son though.
Sure does, yes.
And now they've got an allegiance and Homelanders.
Yeah.
Like training him to basically be a miniature version of him, and it ends with him killing a protester.
Yeah.
And then
I'll tell you what,
people love that.
I don't know the actor's name, the actor who plays his son.
Yeah.
But just we get an incredible facial expression just at the end. Once we see Homelander just obliterate that man, and we see all the crowd cheer. You see just a million emotions run through that kid's face, and I thought it was great.
Yeah,
well
really
done,
good.
young man whose name I don't know.
Yes, that's right.
But just you could see him. He's terrified and he's shocked, and then he's like, "But look,
that's actually pretty cool.
Everyone would respect me if I also lasered a man."
Yeah,
it was great.
So do you think next season we're going to go like Homelander and him teaming up, and then they said they're going to hint at killing the woman who blows up people's heads?
Yeah,
but is that everything? Do you think we're going to get?
Oh, good question.
Soldier Boy's frozen for now.
Yeah,
I don't.
Do you think Homelander's popularity is going to continue to rise? I mean, he did just murder that man, but do you think they're going to play it off?
No, I think people love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they love that like vigilante justice, And
how are they going to play it though?
I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a blip. I think it's going to be. He assaulted his son.
Assaulted his son, right?
And also
tried to murder his son.
Yeah,
probably,
and if you even if they wanted to stop him, they couldn't.
That's
so
true.
I think there's a lot of things that guy does that they just have to. Like a normal person couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And get away with it necessarily, but he's famous and he has superpowers and he's rich.
Yeah.
He's backed by a multinational company.
They might Photoshop, was it a rock or a bottle or something?
A bottle or can
might
or
Photoshop
something.
it into a hand grenade or something.
But I think even then, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think, I think even if it's very clear what happened
it'll be a vicious assault on a boy.
Yeah, I think we've seen similar things happen like that in real life, and it's like, well, maybe shouldn't have whatever. And yeah, she shouldn't have thrown the thing, but does that justify killing a person?
Yes, I'm on his side.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Homelander.
We see situations where it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have resisted, or or maybe you shouldn't have been walking down that street, or whatever.
Makes you think.
Or wearing those particular clothes, or be of
these clothes?
Yes, those clothes.
Oh my god.
Or being a certain race. You know what I mean? Like
this race?
Yes, you, Mason.
Oh my
this is all about
God.
you.
Dang.
So, and it seems also that a lot of people have finally cottoned on that. Yes, this is a political show.
No. The Weekly Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very political.
It's very political, and we will not stop. We cannot be silenced, and I will not take down those tweets.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Exactly.
Etc.
Etc. God, what a transparent marketing ploy. The thing we're talking about, Mason.
The Weekly Planet.
Yeah, that's right. The political show. Anyways, before next season, though, I think we're getting the spin-off. Another spin-off. It's the college years.
Oh, who's in that?
They've cast it, but it's basically like superhero school, but it's college and whatever.
Animal House, but with lasers.
Yeah, because like in Animal House, everyone's awful.
Yeah.
Presumably.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Is that going to be, so that's going to be new superheroes, it's not going to be the current crop, but years ago?
No, it's current, I believe it's current day and it's the next.
Oh, next
thing
gen.
whatever.
Okay,
yes,
wow.
There you go. All right.
Wow.
Is that everything, Mason?
That's the whole thing.
Now, let's not muck around this time. Let's really do the segment that I said I was going to do.
I love segments.
Do you know what it's called, though?
It's called What We Reading.
Yep.
What we going to read.
I'm going to play that theme right about now.
Mm.
Oh, I muted it.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm the dumbest man on the internet.
No.
Sorry, you're right. Second to you.
Oh, come on.
I'm doing the theme. What are we reading today? Another Westworldless What We Reading theme.
My goodness. Oh, I should get to Westworld.
People are going to have to get used to it, Mason.
Now that we're in the segment What We Read and What We're Going to Read, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to read this week, and that is however many episodes of Westworld are currently the new season is.
2 to 3 potentially.
2 to 3 potentially
I did watch
episodes.
the first one. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
You mentioned, yeah.
Mason.
Yes.
Go
on.
This is the segment where we talk about stuff that we've been watching. Well, we talked about things that we've been watching, obviously.
My goodness.
I am about 30 minutes away from finishing the movie Men.
Oh, yeah.
Very upsetting.
Men.
Yeah, very upsetting.
That's the new movie by that guy that we like.
Alex Garland.
Who did Annihilation, and he did other things.
He wrote
Ex
Sunshine,
Machina,
he did Ex Machina.
Devs, the TV series Devs, which I
he's
like.
done a bunch of stuff.
And
if you like upsetting things, he's your man.
And this is a movie where all the men are played by one guy, Rory Kinnear.
That's right.
Of course, is from the Bond movies.
That's right.
He's the guy who does a lot of admin,
Yeah,
not a lot of secret agent stuff.
And the pig thing.
Yeah. Okay, that also
The pink thing from Black Mirror. Anyways.
Anyway, what do you think? What do you think of it?
I mean, yeah, I can't really be like, I love it or hate it either way.
Right.
I mean, again, it's upsetting and it's obviously very well made and there's some striking imagery and so forth, but I will reserve judgment until I actually finish the movie, I think. But yeah, so far, it's good.
Okay, I should get to that.
Yeah, you should.
Can you wind it back to the start? We'll watch it after this.
I don't have a VHS, Mason.
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Because I brought my VCR rewinder. It's in the shape of a race car. You want to just slot that in there, or
why is it in the shape of a race car?
I don't know. They were just
are the wheels like the tapes?
No, you just stack it in the top.
That sucks.
They existed though, and I bet they still exist.
I bet they don't.
Quickly Google race car VCR rewinder, and I'll tell you that what I watched in honor of Mr. James Caan, the late James Caan, I watched. Maybe I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's a real good. It's absolutely worth a watch. It's a movie from the early '80s called Thief.
I need to watch Thief.
In which
I think you have watched this. Yeah, talked about this recently,
and it's not.
I hate this race car thing. Why did you make me look at it?
Because it's real, and I knew you'd hate it. It was on Stan up until quite recently.
Of course.
I'll bring a Blu-ray over.
So he died and they took it off. Is that what happened?
Probably, yeah.
God damn it.
Out of pure disrespect. But yeah, James Caan plays he's an ex-con, but he's also he's an ex-con, but he has a bunch of legitimate businesses and he's trying to make it, in the world of legitimate business. But also he is a safe cracker and he's really good at it. So occasionally he just kind of does a bit of safe cracking because he kind of he wants out of the world, but he also can't, sometimes he can't resist.
This is the thing that I do.
This is the thing that I do, and sometimes people ask and he can't say no and that kind of thing. And it's like and he's you wouldn't believe this, but he's messing around with the wrong crowd.
Oh no, is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine.
Great, that's really good.
Yeah, but good. If you've seen the movie Drive, the reason I know about this movie at all is because I watched Drive, and of course I liked the movie Drive.
Yeah,
and people are like, you should watch Thief. Thematically, it's very similar. It's pretty similar.
Great. And
the font is quite similar also. Get a look at that font.
And it says Drive.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at a VHS copy of the movie Drive.
Terrific.
What's happening
That's
there?
the perfect movie to watch on a regular VCR.
Yeah, or on a long drive.
That's true.
Just pull the projector screen in front of your windscreen and play it,
Fire it up.
But get one of those little portable projectors and project
That's
it
right.
on your windscreen while you drive.
Now, I feel safe bringing this up because we're well out of the news segment. And if you're out of the news segment, you can't add a bit of news later.
Oh, no.
Officially.
You're gonna veto something?
No, Mason. You have you didn't put in your one bit of news this week.
Yeah, I knew I didn't. And
which means I get, how many do I need to get a veto back?
3 or 5 or something?
I got 1.
Yeah. No, I remember at the time, thinking when we got to the end, I don't have any bit of news, but I'll let you have this one because I'm so confident that you will never get 3 no bits of news.
We'll see.
And you'll never be able to veto any of my increasingly worse bits.
Anyways, I wanted to talk about, because I sent you this week, there's a new RoboCop gameplay trailer for the new RoboCop game.
RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Rope Pope Cop. What does that mean? It doesn't matter.
Make the poster.
It's too late. It's too late in the show.
I can't veto it.
Oh my God, you can't. So I'll have to think of something.
I don't want to veto RoboCop or whatever it was.
It's Rope Pope Cop. Okay, all right. He's a cop. Okay, a rope and the Pope.
Yep.
How does this go together? Oh, it's like a puzzle and I can't see the answers.
Is the rope is using like a lasso as a weapon? Is he the Jude Law version of the Pope?
Ooh,
is he like Pope Benedict?
Yeah.
Which Pope is it?
Which is the nicest? What's the nicest one?
John Paul.
No, he's awful.
I know.
All right.
The nice Pope. Oh, the new one. Isn't he the nicest one of all the popes?
No, I think you're onto something there. He's a cop.
Yep.
But he's also the Pope and he does lasso criminals.
And he's got that rope belt.
But he whips that off. Yeah. And his robes, like once he takes the rope off, his robes like whoosh out behind him like a cape.
I can't stress enough, Mason, that this is nothing.
I know, but you can't stop it.
I don't want to stop it.
You need 2 to 4 more bits of news that I don't provide.
Somebody reminded me how many vetoes I could do.
It's maybe, I don't know.
Anyways, there's a new game.
What's his catchphrase? Rope Pope Cop.
I'm a pedophile.
Oh no! Oh no, James!
It's not my fault.
It's no one's fault. It's society's fault.
That's right. You should have vetoed this when you had the chance.
I will never, because I believe in the power of whatever this is. It's not quite improv. I don't know what it is, though.
Certainly not improv.
Certainly something, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I could actually do this with anybody else. Like, it wouldn't work.
No, it wouldn't work. No, it would be killed. But you're talking about the video game RoboCop Rogue City, which is a first-person shooter.
Yes.
But you're RoboCop and you're just blasting people.
Yeah, and I believe it's the same developer as the guys who did the Terminator game of late.
Is that any good?
Yeah, it was good. It was
Okay,
it was a pretty low budget for what it was,
Yeah,
but
right.
it exists in the Skynet future,
Uh-huh.
and you do your little missions in the
Yeah,
wastelands,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was it was like when it came out, a lot of reviewers are like, boo, no, kind of cheap and whatever.
Uh-huh.
But then slowly you got this groundswell of people being like, no, this is actually pretty good, and it is. I played through the entire thing, which I rarely do, and I very much enjoyed it. It ties into a
Okay.
bunch of the movies, the good ones, and which is all of them. And
Well,
then,
this is probably gonna tie into all the good RoboCop movies, i.e. the first one.
that's right. Peter Weller is back as well,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
still probably returning.
We didn't
in a movie.
really get anything in terms of like plot wise,
No,
but it's got a sinister vibe to it.
a new gang, perhaps.
Maybe, but it felt like the fact that it's called Rogue City, like is
Yeah,
it kind of felt like there's something off
Looking for
about
the date.
RoboCop in it.
yeah, maybe.
Like maybe he's going to turn evil. You're going to turn evil. I don't know.
Oh, it's coming out next year, like next June.
Wow.
Oh, fuck.
Well, in the meantime, we still have Rope Pope Cop. So,
I don't like his catchphrase. I don't like it.
tough. That's the society we live in. We could change it. There's still time.
No,
Okay.
there's no vetoing. We just build.
Okay.
All right.
It's time to rope a dope, but I'm still a pedophile. Better? That's an improvement, I
I
think.
mean, you know, it's like the core of the character is still intact.
So it works. Look, we'll put it on some lunchboxes. We'll see which one sells better. That's how this works.
Some children's lunchboxes.
Yes.
Great. Mason,
It's so late.
is there another segment of
There
the
is
show?
one segment, and then we get
Fuck.
the heck out of here. No, this is going really well, I think. The segment is called the Letters segment, and
Yep.
we read out letters that people have sent us.
Yeah.
But there's a theme song, and I play the theme song off my phone.
That's
I'm
right.
gonna do it right now, assuming that I've put the volume up.
Here we go.
The classic one was...
You did.
Letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away.
We're going to hear right now. We're going to do letters.
If you do want to reach the show, hashtag weeklyplanetpod on Twitter or weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
That's right.
Mason, do you have a Gmail for this week, or would you like me to do a tweet?
I've got so many Gmails.
Wow.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready right now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Maybe.
I can read a tweet while
Yes,
you're
please, if
getting
you
ready.
could.
Okay. This is from Benson Maid, who says, hashtag weeklyplanetpod. So we had lots of superhero stories this past few months. Thor, Doctor Strange, Stranger Things, The Boys, and Umbrella Academy. But is Marvel still hitting the same mark as any of the others?
Ooh.
I mean, they still-
big question.
They're
isn't it?
making money. I think there is an oversaturation considering
right,
the
right.
Disney Plus stuff that's going on. But what do you think?
Ooh.
It's not unique, I guess,
No,
anymore.
that's true,
It's
yeah.
not, they're not the only game in town,
Yeah.
which I think is a good thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like probably in terms of all the movies that are in this phase, there's certainly been some high highs.
Yeah.
I think there's some really good stuff. I've mentioned, in Shang-Chi, there's the great bus fight, which I think is like
Yep.
up there with one of the best action sequences maybe they've ever done.
I think like with the Spider-Man movie, it did a lot of like nostalgia stuff,
Yeah.
correctly. I think
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed that a lot.
But I kind of feel like they are good at Marvel are really good at sort of listening to fan feedback when it comes to, we love this character, can you bring this character in, this would be great, but less on like, these movies kind of look a little grey and washed out and I wonder if maybe we could tweak that a little bit.
Yeah, okay,
But,
yeah. I saw an interesting thread, and who knows whether it was real about like how the people working for Marvel are overworked and just like, I hate doing these.
I was going to, I forgot about it, but if you go to r/VFX on Reddit, did you see that on Twitter? I saw it on
did,
Twitter.
yeah,
And it's our VFX is just people in the VFX industry talking about VFX stuff. And a lot of it is like, hey, did you have the new plugin for the whatever? But this particular thread was like, yeah, Marvel's all about, they want you to design a we've designed a costume for this character. It has to be CGI. Can you put it in all these scenes? And then you do, and then like later, a month later, they're like, actually, we unlocked that design. We're not using that design. There's a new design. Can you put it in again? Or like, they're still thinking about the design or whatever. And then it gets to like, it's got to be ready for the trailer on Monday. We'll see if we can get you the new design by Friday.
Right.
In order to, and then you have to do all the trailer scenes over a weekend.
Yeah.
And that seems like it seems like there's so many people. There's too many cooks in the kitchen in the sense that everybody has a say in what they want a particular thing to look like. And so much time, like if the VFX artists are given 3 months to work on this movie or this show, 2.5 months of that, or 2 months, 2.5 of that is just decision making that keeps getting rescinded and changed.
Yes.
And then it's that last month they're like,
you're not allocated either the time or the money.
Exactly.
To do so,
right.
because they're the biggest contracts, really, or your consistent work at the very least.
Yeah.
There's
hang on. Oh yeah. So here's somebody in this thread because I screenshotted this.
Oh, cool. This could have been your one bit of news.
No. It doesn't. It's no news.
It could have been.
Plus, I want to tantalize you with the possibility of a veto one day, James.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you get overconfident, like John Travolta's character in Battlefield Earth.
Yeah. What would that sound like? Here we go, because you can't stop me. No, I don't have any. Somebody in this thread has said about half of all Marvel VFX are what I call hand beams. The rules for hand beams are hand beams can't look like any other hand beams the showrunner has seen before. However, this hand beam should look just like another hand beam the showrunner saw, but totally different. The showrunner will know it when they see it. Showrunner will never be satisfied with this effect because they have no idea what they want. After 100 versions, they will go back to version 3 from the first attempt. So that's okay. I mean, I know a lot of graphic designers. I imagine you know a bunch as well, and that is that experience is very similar. And that people are like, can you give me a logo and it has elements A, B, and C to it? And they go, okay, here it is. And they go, oh, could you make it better though? And they're like, what do you mean better?
What specifically?
And they're like, I don't know, just more and
obvious,
better. And then they do 10 different versions and they're like, actually, I like that one. Oh, the first one.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's also like, I think that's okay if you're paying a person for their work. And like if you want 1,000 versions, then you pay them for the 1,000 versions.
Yeah, exactly. Make, But look, I reckon... I don't know. Maybe I'm loving Marvel TV more than I'm loving.
I think
Marvel
they're both
movies
like they're highs and lows.
There are highs. And
I think
lows,
like Loki was great. WandaVision was great. I think Ms. Marvel, which we'll talk about on Wednesday.
I'm liking that a lot.
Was the one Moon Knight was, I guess, okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd watch that one again though.
Yeah, I liked Hawkeye a lot.
Yeah. It's kind of like it moved along, didn't it?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I like that the TV series, I think, at least are taking chances in terms of like you can do a fun little
hand ray.
You can do a hand ray, but you can do a fun little crime adventure thing at Christmas, and I think that's
yes.
Or you can have the first Muslim Pakistani superhero, and it's fun and it's got cool, interesting ideas and a cool soundtrack. I've been enjoying there's different music at the end of each episode, which I think is very.
But maybe the villain sucks. We'll talk about
that. Maybe the villain is just there's not enough time to develop the villain, even though the show's 6 hours long. I don't know what happened there.
That's it. Got a letter, Mason? Why don't you tell us about it?
I'm going to tell you about a letter. Don't even worry about it.
You're still not ready for a letter.
Speaking of special effects, this is from Ryan.
Hey,
James and Mason. I've been a long-time fan since middle school, and I'm now going into my second year of college. Yes, you're that old.
No, yes, you're that old.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah.
I was talking to you, Ryan. Anyway, I just watched the trailer for the new Light and Magic documentary coming to Disney Plus, and was wondering what your all-time favorite visual effect from a movie is. Ryan says, I think a slept-on one is Davy Jones in the Pirates franchise, but a more recent one I thought was super effective was Vecna in Stranger Things. Thanks for all the laughs.
Similar vibes. I mean, I wouldn't say Davy Jones is slept-on. Whenever, it constantly trends, and people are like, can you believe this is from 2007? Yes, I can. I mean, it looks amazing. Don't get me wrong. Special effect.
Here's the thing that we don't think about is...
What's special?
Well, the unsung hero of the special effect, I think, is all the visual effects that we never even think about.
Absolutely.
Because because we're looking for Davy Joneses, or we're looking for big hand beams, or we're looking for Iron Man suit up sequences or whatever. But sometimes you'll look at just a drama set in a city, and you'll watch the making of, and it was just a green floor, and they built the entire city, and you never noticed because they got the time.
Yep.
They were like, we need to be in this city at a specific time, and we can't do it because it's always busy, or we can't rope it off. So you're going to have to build the city, and they just do it, and you never knew. And I think that's fascinating.
Also, what does that, when you special effect, does that mean does it have to be a digital effect? It's going to be like a...
Well, technically, is special effect is like a live effect, and a visual effect is a computer effect. Is that right?
I don't know, man. You're telling the story here.
Yeah.
The Hulk's always looked amazing, especially in the Avengers 2012.
Yeah.
Was incredible. In terms of people, I think Stranger Things 11 recently, the Young 11 was really good.
Do we know how they did that yet?
Yeah, was a stand-in and they did a digital face
Okay,
or
great,
something.
terrific.
Something.
Yeah, that was pretty flawless.
I mean, you look at something like Dune or Interstellar, where those effects and the world feel like a grounded like reality. It's not a big laser beam and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the dragons in Game of Thrones, that's a good one.
Look, and I know I did just mention it, but I think one of my all-time favorites, even though it's not that old, is probably like any of the Iron Man 1 suit-up sequences.
Very good stuff.
Because they did put in so much care and attention.
Yep.
And I think it's when I went into the theater and I went, oh, they really care and they're really trying and it's a good movie and I'm glad because this is my favorite character and I'm glad this is an awful and not an embarrassment. Like I'm sure I didn't go, this is going to be a new era for superhero movies, but I went, finally, I could take people to this or show it to them and go like, you should watch Iron Man because look how, even if you don't like the story or the whatever, look how good this looks.
Look how good it's looking.
You know?
Caesar, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
That's a terrific one. Flawless, yeah. I mean, I know, go back to Marvel movies, like, they're not all perfect, obviously, but like Rocket Raccoon is an incredible effect. That's also. True. God, man, I don't know. Just pretty good. There's little things that I love, like in Mad Max, Furiosa is missing an arm.
Yes.
And you can see like it's, and they just remove kind of the forearm and, she's got just like a metal clampy kind of arm on the end. Just like little things like that I love, like tiny details that they're not big standout effects.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's the moment it's RoboCop where Joel Kinnaman gets the suit pulled apart.
Yeah,
and it's just like a set of lungs in her head. Like that's a good one. Anyways, I think it also has to be it has to be part of a story that I enjoy. Otherwise, I'm like I love seeing like a digital effects like showcase, and that's really fun. Or seeing you see like a 5-minute short film and it's all amazing and whatever. Like all that is incredible. But the like Terminator 2, for example, like the liquid metal thing, it works way better because it's
half and half.
It's half and half, and it's in a story that you like.
That's true.
Like if I just saw that scene or that effect in another thing, I don't think I'd remember it outside of. But because it's in the movie, it is. You remember it as an amazing effect. Right. Jurassic Park, I like the big dinosaur bit with the when it comes out and it goes, I'm gonna get you. Get out of your car. This is a robbery. Yeah. Here's one, Mason. Sorry.
Dinosaur robber.
Dinosaur robber.
Yes.
What are we doing with this?
He's gonna be the rival of the other thing.
The Pope thing.
Yeah, the Pope thing.
Okay. But
we'll put it on the board, James.
Are they both bad guys?
No. I mean, yes.
The dinosaur would have to be the good guy, right?
Even though he's a robber.
I mean, the other one's a pedophile.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, is he? I thought that was just his catchphraise to lure other criminals to him. And arrest them.
I thought he was just telling people. That
No. It's
bad either way though.
Yeah.
It's true. Not good. Yeah. Some Simon Fox who says #Weekly Planet Pod. It blows my mind that Lord of the Rings, one of the best books of all time, was written because Tolkien's publishers wanted a follow up to The Hobbit. Can you think of any sequels that are more famous than their predecessors? Got a few here that I'm going to list off. I think Terminator 2 is a more famous movie, but it's obviously a sequel, right? Because it's got 2 in the name. Here's one sort of. Silence of the Lambs is a sequel to Mindhunter, sort of. It's also kind of a reboot of whatever that is. The Color of Money is more famous than The Hustler. Wrath of Khan is more famous than original Star Trek. We talked about that last week with Benjamin Russell. Mad Max Fury Road is probably the most famous Mad Max movie at this point, and it's the best one. The Suicide Squad is better than Suicide Squad.
Agreed.
The second Planet of the Apes with Caesar, people remember those ones. They don't remember the James Franco one. Even though I think the James Franco one is good, people remember the other ones more, I think. Aliens is probably, maybe because it was on TV more, was probably more well-known than Alien as a story, also because it's an action movie. Here's one. Desperado is a sequel to El Mariachi.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's a recast with Antonio Banderas, and it's just the one that people know. And I don't think I've seen El Mariachi, but I have seen the 2 follow-ups.
Is it a recast?
Yeah, they recast what's his name? The El Mariachi.
El Mariachi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's one
I'm going to look it up, James.
Here's one I just found out.
Go on.
Sahara, the movie. There was another movie in that franchise called Raise the Titanic from like the early 80s.
Okay, right.
I did not know that.
A Clive Cussler adventure.
But nobody remembers the movie Sahara either. Anyways, great question, and those are all my answers.
Okay.
What about you, Mason?
El Mariachi was played by Carlos Gallardo.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, Mason.
Here's one on my email. This is more of a, you don't have to have an answer here because I think this is a bigger question, but I think this could be a topic for a future episode, which I'm excited about. This is from Skimbo. Actually, his name's John, but he's
Jom.
Yeah, Jom. I'm going to go with Jom.
I'm not doing this on purpose. I thought you said Jom.
No, I did say Jom. I was going to say John.
Okay.
And then we've talked too much today. And
it's Jom.
Yeah, it's Jom. Anyway, hello, James, and Nick Mason's twin brother, Nick Mason. That's the thing we did.
That's right.
Who am I this week? I'll never tell. Last week, you guys briefly mentioned the Ferris Bueller TV show and questioned if any of the main actors returned for it. Not only did none of the main cast return, but the show's location was moved from Chicago, where the movie takes place, to LA because that's where the studio was. To accommodate this, the show actually retcons the movie and says that the Ferris in the show is the real Ferris Bueller and Matthew Broderick was playing a movie adaptation of his life.
Doesn't he cut him in half with a chainsaw or something? The Maybe. Or something?
It also makes the bold statement of saying the movie, which everyone loves except James apparently, was crap.
Oh, I should clarify. I don't think the movie's crap. I think Ferris Bueller sucks.
The character of
Ferris I think
it's
Bueller. A very fun movie, but he's terrible.
With that in mind, what are some other weird retcons from movie TV shows you can think of? So I think that might be a good springboard for a future episode.
Well, there was a weird science TV show.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I do. Is that a retcon?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm not saying TV adaptations. I'm just saying in movies and TV shows, like the weirdest retcons of like. For people who don't know that, like that's the idea of like. It's a superhero thing, and it's also very much a soap opera thing of like, you thought he was dead, but actually he was only crushed by that rock. He's fine. He's fine though.
And he's fine.
Yeah. You know.
Great question.
And I love a lot of the ones that have like a real life, elements to them.
Oh, like the reason why they
why like two characters hated each other, or
like what the bartender left the show Cheers and was replaced by a different bartender,
or like Richie Cunningham's brother in Happy Days just went upstairs one day and never came back. That's not really a retcon.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit of fun,
What do you
think? He's still up there. He's rotting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
When did he die? We don't know.
No, we don't know. No.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
it's fun to think about, though, isn't it?
If he didn't come down again and they didn't bring him any food up, you can live without food for
decades.
I think it's 2 weeks, but you can't live without water for more than 3 days.
Okay.
So if he had no water and he doesn't have a tap up there,
go on.
He would have lasted 3 days.
Interesting.
Anyways, I like that topic. If my caffeine hadn't worn off, I would have come in so hot for this. People would have been like, God damn, this guy's firing on all cylinders.
We'll make a note of it and we'll come back.
Yes.
When there's not a big Love and Thunder coming out.
Thank you, Jom.
Thank you, Jom. Skimbo Jom.
That's right.
Another classic character. Do you have any more tweets or are you all done?
No.
Okay, terrific, folks. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We absolutely do appreciate it.
We really do.
As we come in on our little break that's coming up in a few weeks.
We're ramping up to disappear.
And then we hope some to all of you come back.
Agreed.
We would definitely appreciate that. Folks, thank you for liking the show. Thank you for subscribing to the show on your podcast platform of choice. Thank you for telling your friends about it, and thank you for leaving a 5-star review, because both of those things help us get new listeners. James, do you have any reviews there?
This is from KG616, who says, maybe the best thing one could do for their mental self. Thank you so much. This is a 5-star review, by the way, which you can do in-app. So easy, my goodness. Can't believe if you're listening to this and you're not doing it right now. It's crazy. Best podcast.
Take your hands off the wheel and do the review.
Do it via Siri. Siri, open the podcasting platform.
You sent me a text earlier, and I got it on my car, and I texted you right back with the power of my voice. So I'm assuming you can do that with Spotify.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've
never had a car that can do that before.
Open up the Weekly Planet on Apple and make a review for it. The TV show, Movies Company TV shows with hilarious and biting commentary on all things from how to kill wizards with partial masonry to the prevalence and severity of depression in middle-aged Italian plumbers. Do yourself a favor and give the boys a whirl. You won't regret it. 10 podcast dogs out of 10. And this other one says, best podcast around. Makes me want to jump into a volcano. And that's from the Seaman Demon.
That's terrific.
That's great.
Spelled how you'd expect?
Yes.
That's great. That is
good luck
stuff.
going up against that Pope character.
Pope Cop and the Seaman Demon. Oh, that's an album cover, I think.
And the dinosaur thing.
Yeah, the dinosaur
burglar
or whatever. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah. Oh, we're building our own cinematic universe. Like as soon as the Marvel universe falls off, just let the money folks know that we have a universe that people are gonna hate. They're gonna hate it so bad. Folks, thank you so much. If you want to get into contact with us, if you've got any crazy characters you'd like to recommend, or just to say hi, you can go to weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com, at Facebook, at Twitter, at Bandcamp. You can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group where there's all sorts
right.
of fun conversations about pop culture and podcasts where everybody's very nice or else.
That's right.
You can also go to the Weekly Planet Pod subreddit and Discord. Let's see, if you want to follow our friend Rob Collings over on Twitter, you can do so because he's all up there and he's doing all sorts of socials and editing and videos and all kinds of stuff. You
What's
can
he
follow
up
him.
to?
I don't know. You know, if you follow him at Raw Collings on Twitter or The Weekly Planet on Twitter, that's where you get all our updates. If you want to follow us for some reason, I'm Wikipedia Brown on Twitter, and on Instagram I'm Nick Maso. James is Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere.
That's right.
If you want to support the show financially, you don't have to because it's tough times out there.
Absolutely.
If you want to help us keep the lights on, you can do so over at patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. You can chuck in $1 for any man you wouldn't miss. That's the key.
That's right.
If you're like, I wouldn't miss this quarter. That's an American
expression
amount of money.
It's also like if you cut something into quarters.
Oh, yeah.
One of those would be a quarter.
That's very true.
And 5 quarters make 1 whole and an additional quarter.
Put a quarter orange in an envelope and send it to us.
But cut it weirdly. I don't want like just a regular orange slice.
Yeah, right.
Make it quarters a different way.
It's absolute diva over here. Or if you're a big spender, you can go to bigsandwich.co.
That's right.
For $9 per month, all sorts of bonus content, movie commentaries,
Another
bonus
thing.
podcasts, all kinds of stuff.
A third thing.
So many things. It's a factory of wonder, as I called it.
It's true.
At some point.
Yeah.
Wondrous.
Times.
That's right. T-shirts over at tpublic.com. You want a Weekly Planet T-shirt? You can do that.
That's right.
tpublic.com, search for the Weekly Planet. Thank you to the Brood and the Basilisk and Rackham for all the musical themes. And that's the whole show next week. Don't know yet.
Maybe a guest.
Maybe a special guest.
Maybe no guest. We've
Maybe
got
10 guests.
we got
Maybe a special guest and then 2 special guest hosts, and we take holidays earlier.
I was just thinking about how I'd love to take a holiday earlier, Mason. So we've got this week's episode, we've got next week's episode. So we've got 2 episodes left before the break. So yeah, we'll probably have to do a guest next week actually.
Terrific.
Because the week after is Comic-Con. And there will be no guests on Comic-Con.
That's right.
It will just be the boys.
No guests allowed, only the boys.
That's right.
So we can come up with all our famous characters. More and more of our good characters.
That people like also.
They like the characters.
All right, thanks everybody.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Good character universe, we could call us.
Ah.
The GCU.
Yeah, nice. The Perfect Extraordinary Dude Organization, it should be called. That's the team they're in. What do you think about that?
I love it. And because I don't veto.
Yeah, nice.
So I just love it.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Spells pedo. It's fine.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't
like it even more
I
now?
don't love it.
Okay.
But I can't veto it.
You can't veto it. That's the key there.
Great.
Okay, bye, everybody.